Excuse me. Excuse you, mind you. Look. People are doubting me. My own crew is doubting me. I literally said I turn my console off, they wouldn't stop. Hey, I got a question for the audience. Am I really that gameaholic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All the
Survey
fun is
says
over.
yes.
Let's to this week. Xbox going third party. Confirm. And a lot of shit show with Helldivers too. A lot of amazing and a lot of shit. Who's to blame? Let's talk about it. What else?
Mm,
A lot of stuff happening in the industry. PlayStation may be getting a FromSoft game exclusive? Who knows? Let's talk about it. But before we do, let's jump to the intro. Nelson, how are you, man, and what you been playing?
Decent. Attempting to play helldivers frequently.
Attempting.
Might I say attempting?
I love the word
And Grand Blue.
attempt, because that's what we doing all of us. Congratulations. Okay, if you put Helldiver 2 aside, what other game were you playing?
Grand Blue, and I finished the Final Fantasy VII demo, but yeah, this is my time to play, and I can't play what I want to play.
So how is FF7?
It's alright. I mean, you only did one little area, so. It's
Mm-hmm.
cool being Sephiroth. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's always cool
Spoiler.
being Sephiroth with his long sword.
It's one of my favorite characters ever, so.
He is. Um, Weep, Mr. Ishiben, how are you? What you been playing?
I'm good. I'm streaming from a remote location, but as you've spoiled, I'm playing or was playing Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and I will still keep on playing that probably even when Final Fantasy Rebirth drops because I'm like still at chapter 6, and I'm not done with all the side stuff. So yeah, it's consuming my life, but I'm loving it. It's absolutely fantastic, and certainly it's going to be my game of the year.
I
And
see, I see, I see.
yeah, right now I'm since I'm not at home playing E7 on my Steam Deck. So yeah.
Getting ready for them East 10?
Oh yeah, most certainly, most certainly. My gaming schedule got even more busier this year, which I'm not complaining. I mean, I love E, so it's great that it's coming uh, sooner than expected because I was expecting it to come next year. But yeah, great that it's coming this year. Looking forward to it.
I
They
see,
didn't give a date on that, have they? Because I'm looking forward to that one too, so.
Yeah, only fall this year.
Okay, fall. It's about a year
Morgan,
from release, so.
Mrs. Helldiver, how are you? What you been playing?
I'm good. I'm good. Like you said, I'm basically obsessing over Helldivers right now. It's been a crazy ride. I always knew when I first saw the game, like I don't know what it was about it. Maybe it was the co-op that appealed to me. Because I'm not really a PVE kind of person, or sorry, a PvP kind of person. But I'm always down for a good co-op. Um, so yeah, played it and I was like, okay, yeah, this is it. And I think the friendly fire always being on is like one of the best aspects of the game.
I mean, we did see you get light up.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
not just like the funny, killing each other type of stuff, but I think like I become a better shooter because I'm aware, like, okay, they just ran in front of me, so I have to, wait, hold my fire, and then
Yeah.
move around. And it makes me, think and strategize a little bit better with the way I'm, shooting my guns and throwing stratagems and grenades and stuff. So I mean, I really like it. I just, it just sucks about the server situation right now. Everybody
Talk
is
about it. Talk about it.
is feeling this game right now. And on top of that, now PlayStation has announced that hey, it's a free weekend, a free multiplayer weekend. You don't no
Yeah.
PS Plus is needed to get on Helldivers, and I'm like, bro, the servers are already over. Why are you?
You,
Why? I
this
know.
is in the same weekend where 50% more XP, yeah?
Yeah, and I'm just like, I know the Helldiver Arrowhead devs are just looking at PlayStation like, yo, what the fuck? Like, why are you doing this? But I mean, I hope they can get the server thing under control, especially this weekend. You know, I think this is the weekend where they'll really hit that peak. I don't know where the peak is going to be, but I feel like they're going to, if they can get the servers up to par and, you know, not overloaded, I feel like they can do it.
I am, I believe, and I truly believe this. If there was no limit, they
Yeah.
would be sitting at 1,000, if not 2,000 players.
You mean a million?
I'm about to say
You
they're
mean a
already over
million?
1,000 players. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's. I think their servers are at 650, and you can't get in a fucking
My
game.
bad, I mean a million. Yeah, that's what I
A
said.
million? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think I don't know about I don't know. Maybe like 750,000, something like that. I don't maybe a million. Who knows? But
Considering people are waiting two
They
hours to get
could
into a
break a
game,
million.
yeah,
I don't. Yeah, it could break a million.
They
you think
could
Did,
so?
break a million
did, did,
easy with ease.
Did Omar just have his Doctor Evil moment?
Yeah, it's just it's so good, and I can't wait to see like what roadmap they put out and like what new enemies and stratagems and you know kind of quality of life things. 'Cause I know a lot of people had you know different things that they wanted improved on the game. You know, as far as like the superstore goes and how many badges you need for certain things and stuff like that. And I think there's a lot that because I know they've been active with their Discord and listening to a lot of the feedback and, you know, hitting the community up about the stuff that they're going to do. So I can't wait to see what the roadmap is. I'm excited about the future of Helldivers to hopefully, you know, PlayStation puts their full support behind it after seeing, you know, how it's taken off. Honestly, this probably should have been the, the developer you bought over Bungie, but you know, it
Oh
is
yes,
what it
thank
is.
you. Talk about it. Talk to them.
You know, they over here surpassing Destiny 2 numbers. So, um, but yeah, so Helldivers, loving it. Hopefully, I'll be able to get on tonight. God knows.
Mm,
Um, but other than that, I've been playing Persona 3 Reload, and especially in the downtime now that you know I can't get on Helldivers, but I'm loving it. Of course, beautiful game, 4K 60 with ray tracing on PS5 and
and the
Xbox.
music.
Music's great. The transitions of the splash screens and menus, and you can just tell, you know, this is a really polished game. Like it's just so crispy on an OLED on the PS5. Story's great, loving it. But yeah, that's basically what I've been playing right now.
I see. I see. Very quick. Shout out to Jesse at JWAG 412. He said, "All I know is Arrowhead better get their shit together before people just drop their game."
I
I
know
was trying.
this is the
That's
critical
what I just
moment.
posted.
I was
Yeah, this is where you gain millions or lose millions.
I was trying to
Exactly.
run it with a friend, but dot 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 dot. Back to Banishers.
People
Hey,
will only be patient for so far, you know, for so long before they'll, you know, move on to the next thing. So
look,
right now is when you got to capture
I
people.
I tried. I really tried to put Grand Blue away so I can play Helldiver, but I can't do it no longer. I'm just gonna start playing Grand Blue again today because Helldiver showed me that it's not stable. I can't just jump in whenever I want and play the game. And it's not like I'm not playing it a lot. When I am playing it a lot. I am level 22, if not 23 now. I think 23. I leveled up because of the what you call it. It 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 sucks. It genuinely sucks as someone that's loving the game. But we're gonna talk about it. The success and the terrible that's happening. And hey, how are you, man? What you been playing?
Yeah. Obviously, based on the clips that Morgan has been posting, I've been playing Helldivers. With her and Fox primarily. Sometimes with you, sometimes with a lot of people. We've been playing with a bunch of people, so when we can, it's been a lot of fun. Obviously, couldn't really play last night. That was a mess. Um, so hopefully they extend that 50% plus requisition in XP because most of us weren't able to actually take advantage of it. Um, but yeah, obviously, besides that, Persona 3 Reload, which again has just been really, really great. Um, like I said, loving a lot of the UI design and a lot of the things going on in that game that they made choices for. The um, I don't. I'm not. It hasn't gotten to the point where I've heard some people say sometimes they feel like it's better for them than Persona 5, which it has not gotten to that point for me yet. I'm not sure that it will, because there's just some things inherently that I can tell already that I love more in Persona 5, especially when you're talking Persona 5 Royale. I mean, again, both really, really good games, and I recommend playing both of them highly. Um, I just think that so far the crew and the story and character development and stuff, I'm just really feeling that a lot more in Persona 5 Reload. And I think for some people, it's more recency bias because some people have not played Persona 5 as much as I have. So it's like, I could think, like, if I hadn't played it recently, again, when me and Morgan were going through a new playthrough, that I wouldn't remember it quite as heavily. So if like people had played it originally when it came out on PlayStation 4 and they maybe perhaps didn't even play Royale, I could see how they might feel that way. But yeah, it's definitely not topping it for me so far. But we'll see what happens later when Metaphor
Agreed.
comes out. Yep.
Agreed. So far, I think I love Persona 4, but still it hasn't topped Persona 5 for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely not gotten there yet. And then like I said, still playing Lost Sphere in between all that, trying to finish that up. I'm ultimately gonna want to have it permanently because it's leaving PlayStation Plus on the 20th. Um, so I'm probably just gonna go ahead and purchase it beforehand or something so I can make sure I can continue to play that because I've been enjoying that a lot. Along with I Am Setsuna. Um, I think that's mainly it. I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of other stuff I'd love to throw in there, but hey, there's only so much time in the day when you gotta eat and sleep and live the rest of your life. So, yeah, that's about it.
Okay. As for me, I played, well, Helldiver 2. It's a given. And sadly, when I'm on it, I'm loving it. But when I can't get into it, I'm not even gonna waste my time. I've seen people literally being waiting for an hour. Like, nah, dude. With that hour, I could have easily been beating a different game, which what I did. For this week only, story over gameplay was for me. What I'm talking about, a game called Last Stop. It's an interactive quote unquote game. Um, Gameplay one of the worst, slow as hell. When you walk to your next objective. On the other side, um, the story is so great. It's beyond great. It's amazing even. The voice acting, it have what do you say? Either Scottish? No, it's absolutely uh, from England, and the humor in it's bonkers. I love it, and they poke fun out of how society is. They poke fun out of at um what trend and stuff like that. All by all, you just gotta play it. It's short, like 6 or 7 chapters maximum. You play as 3 different people, and each chapter from one person goes around half hour maximum, not even. Which again, and what's funny is about when you play, let's say, from chapter 3 to chapter 4, there is always a recap what happened chapter 3, so you're never lost. Again, I can't stress this enough. Get this game. Last stop. So far I know it's on PlayStation. Oh, it's also on Xbox because I used their achievement for getting trophy. Basically, I looked up how to do certain stuff and it's achievement. And I'm pretty sure it's on PC because PC gets everything. Yeah, that's about it for this topic. Let's jump into the first topic of the week. And that's going to be. Give me a second, my keyboard froze. Not keyboard. My PC froze actually, so I'm gonna use my phone.
I mean, you're
Suicide
fine right
Squad,
now.
Suicide Squad have less than 1K players. So dead on arrival by definition. What you guys thought on this, Jim? Literally less than 1,000 players.
I mean, less than 1,000 players according to Steam. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's higher than that if you consider consoles, but yeah, I'm sure it's not much higher. But
Well, not gonna lie, this is reported from a PC account, so I'm pretty sure then they just counting Steam.
yeah, they're looking at the Steam numbers.
Yeah.
But I mean, regardless, I'm sure it's not that much higher or whatever. But I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, like I said, I'm always wary when people have those specific statements, which me and Morgan had talked about, where we were like, "Oh, it's just pure fun," it's a lot of fun, with friends, and like I don't know, there's just like these weird statements and the tone that people say them in, that always seems like people are trying to convince people that they're having fun, and that game was definitely one of them. I haven't seen any gameplay come across my timeline pretty much since Helldivers dropped. So yeah, I I don't know. I'm not really surprised. I mean, we played the alpha or the beta or whatever the hell they want to call it. It was not fun at all. So I mean, I'm really not surprised in the slightest. I mean, most of the sales I imagine were just people initially hype over the IP. They just couldn't see past that. And I mean, hey, look, as people got money to waste, so they played it for a little bit and then dropped it because, like I said, none of the people I know that were playing it are even playing it anymore. So yeah,
I see. I see. Morgan, what's your thoughts on this whole fiasco?
You're talking about
You
Suicide
played
Squad,
it.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really want to say deserved because people worked hard on the game, but honestly, the game just it wasn't it. It wasn't it. At least for me, um, it didn't click. Like I've said multiple times, like there were good things about the game. Like I thought they captured the characters that they were portraying well. Like I thought Harley was good, Deadshot, King Shark, Captain Boomerang. I thought the cutscenes were well executed. Their banter, their back and forth, their witty, smart, alecky remarks between each other was good. Um, Cutscenes great. Graphics, the facial animations, like all the technical side of the game, it was really good. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to the gameplay. And for me, it just got boring after a while. Like, and people could say I'm hypocritical because you're doing, um, samey type of missions in a game like Helldivers, right? Which is
Yeah, I was
also
literally about to
uh
ask you about that.
yeah, in a live service game, when you're doing samey missions in Suicide Squad as well. But I don't know. I don't know what it is because it's like they're both co-op games, both live service, both you're doing similar type of missions, repetitively with your friends.
And
It's
both have
just
limited enemies.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the diversity in the enemy types and the areas, and I don't know. I think it's all about the execution. The gameplay was fun to me in Helldivers. It was not fun to me in Suicide Squad. The traversal was also a big thing that I did not like in Suicide Squad. I think it was overly cumbersome. I think they tried to make it like a little bit more intricate to be interesting and different, but it didn't translate well for me. It just felt like it was extra work, and then you had to wait for the stamina to rebuild back up to do it again, and I kept forgetting the buttons to do like to move faster, and I'm just like it just started getting frustrating. And when I get frustrated, it's just not fun. And I didn't particularly like the setting of Metropolis. I thought it was kind of boring looking. um it was just like a city with a bunch of buildings. uh it was all right. The enemy types were okay. Nothing stand out too special. It was just like I said, an hour, maybe 2 hours in, I was just like, all right, I'm ready to turn this off. The only reason I kept going is I was playing with other people and I didn't know how they felt about it, so I didn't want to stop. But yeah, we played that one session for about 4 to 5 hours and nobody asked to play it again after that. We were good. Like I said, no disrespect to Rocksteady, that they still got my love for the amazing Arkham series, but this particular game just did not hit for me at all.
Is that
Um,
it, eh?
it's just not it. And the 55 meta or not, that's not, it was something else. But the low Metacritic score, honestly, it didn't surprise me at all. Um, yeah, and it didn't really surprise me when they decided to wait to give certain or not give certain reviewers review copies. I was like, yeah, it kind of that tracks. I feel like they thought that they would get better feedback during their closed alpha and they didn't, and they were just like, oh fuck, we're just gonna hold off on these reviews for a little while. We're gonna let the our brand of Rocksteady and the IP of Suicide Squad, kind of carry the game for as long as it can before these reviews come out. Um, the reviews actually seem pretty positive on Steam, surprisingly, but I mean, Steam, they take anything over there, so yeah. Uh, but yeah, again, it's not surprising to me that it's fallen off now and nobody's really playing it. I mean, I don't know. I know they're adding the Joker. I don't know if they have already added the Joker. Like I've seen the trailer for the
Mm-hmm.
new Joker from the different universe. I don't know if that'll help revamp the game and get it up to par. But again, for me, a new character is not going to do anything because again, the gameplay is the issue, not the lack of good quality characters in the game. So
If the
unless they,
game-to-game gameplay mechanic is not
yeah,
catching you
it's
enough,
just not it's not appealing to me.
it did
Um,
on Arrival.
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe Rocksteady will take this as a sign to maybe focus on their strengths, but knowing the way developers act now, they'll just be like, they'll just use this as I guess this just means we got to go harder on the live service. Like, they'll take what community feedback and go the opposite direction of what people say. So who knows? But yeah, that's all I got to say about
I see,
Suicide
I
Squad.
see. What about you, Weeb?
Well, I didn't play the game because I saw it coming that this was just going to be dead on arrival. I mean, my trash sense was tingling when I saw the first reveal.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, and I'm gonna give Rocksteady all the smoke because I'm gonna disrespect them all I can because I love the Arkham games, though they did drop the ball a bit with Arkham Knight, but I
Talk about
mean,
it. Talk about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I feel like I look. I know a lot of people are now because Suicide Squad is so fucking awful, and now they're going back to yeah. Remember when Rocksteady was great? Arkham Knight. No, no, no. Arkham Knight wasn't Rocksteady at their best. I mean, it was okay, especially compared to this. I mean, it definitely improved on a lot
Wait,
of things,
hold
but
up.
hmm?
They have a legacy, so
Yeah, but Arkham Knight wasn't it. I mean, first
Arkham
of all,
Knight wasn't it, but Arkham Asylum and Arkham City were it.
I
It's literally
know,
He said that.
I just said that, motherfucker.
no,
Open your ears.
but let me
Let
ask
this man,
no,
let this
but
man talk, Omar. God.
no, what I'm trying to say is it fair that two games can erase a legacy?
I'm not
Absolutely.
saying I'm not saying it's erasing a legacy. I'm just saying that if we're gonna be honest, like Arkham Knight was already sort of I'm not saying the signs were there, but uh, yeah,
Okay.
sure, but let's say we don't know. Let's say that's not the case. Doesn't matter. I mean, Arkham Knight already was kind of a dud in the sense, especially if you're playing on PC, because I don't think it ever got working there. But it was to me a bit of a dud in the sense that while it did some great things, looked great, had the combat was better than ever, and also the Batmobile, and also had completely wasted John Noble as a Scarecrow. And while Mark Hamill was absolutely at his best as a Joker, um, Arkham Knight was a fucking uh, travesty. I mean, they literally promised you, no, no, it's not going to be just another familiar villain, but we just gave it a different name. No, it was exactly that. It was exactly the same as the Red Hood. I mean, it was the fucking Red Hood. But okay, I digress. But yeah, with Suicide Squad, I mean, as soon as they announced it was going to be a service game, I knew it was going to suck ass. And I don't even understand what the fuck they were thinking. Like, sure, yeah, they had Gotham Knights, right? That was made by the studio that made Arkham Origins. Like, if you're making one of those games, yeah, I mean, I'm not. No, I don't approve, but I mean, I can't blame or chasing trends in that regard. But then you kind of expecting to get a full like single player experience from Rocksteady because as Morgan said, that's where their strengths lie, and then they're making two of those, and both of them suck ass. I mean, and you know, like I said, Morgan, I doubt they will draw the right conclusions from that instead of realizing,
Hmm.
yeah, maybe we shouldn't put all our eggs in one basket. Maybe we shouldn't, push this service gaming shit so hard. Just go back to their strengths. But I am willing to. I mean, I'm actually certain that the Arkham games will in the end uh, sell better than any of these service games that they just produced will ever make in lifetime sales. I mean, this game is going to be dead in a couple of months. Like they're going to drop a Joker, whatever campaign, and after that, all the promises that they made. Yeah, wait until it gets good. Well, yeah, I mean that I don't know when they're going to drop that, but that's something they announced. But the thing that's kind of the ridiculous part of it is because what I've heard, at least from the story, is that they sort of set it up like because apparently it really sucks the ending, but I think they're kind of hoping that they can just, yeah, it sucks, but we're gonna give you the ending that you want because that's the plan, that's the roadmap. But they're never going to reach that roadmap because just like Anthem, this game is going to be, dropped, and they're gonna cut their losses and move on, and probably produce another awful service game in the future, or shut down studios, or fire people because, of course, they're going to draw the wrong conclusions from that. Just like they did with Immortals of Avium, and I know that's probably going to be a topic as well, but I just want to address that because that's a single player game that flopped, and the conclusion they draw is like, yeah, a single player first person shooter doesn't sell anymore. Instead of maybe we shouldn't have dropped this in a very crowded release schedule. Maybe we should have promoted this game more if we spent so much fucking money on it. But yeah,
I
who am
mean,
I?
they had a demo. What else could they have done?
But they barely advertise the game.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna see another one do the same. Banishers.
I think it's kind of funny. It's kind of ironic that
No,
No, hold on. That's debatable because I actually thoroughly enjoyed Immortals of Avium. So it's absolutely not a bad game. It's definitely worth it if you, can fit it in your schedule. But that's kind of the problem. Like, it's not going to be a game that's going to be on your must-play list because you have so much else to play. It came out in the crowd schedule. Like, I think it was between Battlefield and Call of Duty, or whatever. And you're basically, I wouldn't say necessarily the same demographic, but you're at least in the first person shooter area. So you're going to be buried. And Banishers also have the same problem that it drops in this crazy release month with crazy releases already. Games already have been released and games are still coming. Like, you're not gonna, there's only so much attention that people can give you, and
hmm
like a smaller game like Banishers from a studio like that previous similar game, it was Vampire, which also was pretty forgettable. And yeah, I mean the game uh, scored like 78 or something on Metacritic. Like, so almost an 80. Like, I'd say it's gonna be it's a good game if I haven't played it, but I would assume it's gonna be a good game, and I heard good things about, especially the narrative. But like, that's not going to, like, if this game is scored like a 90, whatever, then people are like, oh, that might be like could be a surprise hit. But if you don't have that, if you don't have like a very high Metacritic score, and you're coming in a very busy release schedule, and you don't really have like this marketing budget, because let's face it, like we know Banishers because it was shown, I think, in the PlayStation showcase, whatever. But like, there's barely any marketing around it. Like we keep
yeah.
forget, like even in this podcast, we keep forgetting. Oh yeah, Banishers coming out, right? I mean, yeah, it didn't have a chance, and I think it would have done it, could have done it. So yeah, I mean, this year is also still crazy, right? You could say, okay, let's move it up, but it also costs money to delay a game, and
so
yeah,
you sent it
you
out to
don't know.
die.
Well, no. It's a choice you make. Like, you can say, yeah, I should delay it, but like, you can't just delay a game without incurring any costs, because if you delay the game, you still,
hmm
but it's always going to
But
be
damn if
bad
you do,
time.
damn if you do, damn if you don't. Then what do you do?
Well, but you have to be realistic. Like, they're not like they don't have a massive publisher behind them. Like, they're not part of that. They're I think they're an independent developer, and not that big, at least that's from what I can imagine. So, and they have bills to pay. Like, if you have people, if you delay a game for a month, you have to basically pay developers, all the staff for a month, and you're not generating any revenue because your game is basically
But
waiting to be released on the shelves.
Yeah.
would you rather do that or kill your game completely, or
I
But
mean,
possibly a franchise? Like, no, no. This is EA, yeah. EA have a habit of doing this. Look what happened with Titanfall.
yeah, now we're talking about Avium. I was talking about
No,
Banishers.
but it's the same story. Titanfall was released. Titanfall either one, no, I think two. It released, yeah.
Or Avium was definitely. I mean, EA has definitely a habit of putting their games out there because they seem to be willing to kill studios, like they did with Dead Space. I think. Yeah, I mean, they're willing to just uh, you know set up a game to fail, if they're not expecting the game to make a massive amount of revenue, so that they can have an excuse to close the studio, because then they can cut costs. That's the other side of it. Like, if you're a small independent studio, you have the freedom, you don't have to worry about that. But on the other hand, like, if a game flops, that could mean the end of you purely because you can't keep the lights on. On the other hand, if you're a smaller studio and you're part of a bigger corporation, they can just, if they don't have confidence in you, they can just, basically set you up so they can make sure your game flops even harder than it, or at least flops, instead of maybe making its money back, and then they have an excuse to close you.
It's
Yeah, because
funny
I
how
plan
we.
on getting this game. It's just a bad time right now. But when
Yeah,
it starts dying down, I'm definitely picking this game
Yeah,
up.
but it is like this one is absolutely crazy. So I would certainly say, you could have maybe chosen to opted to delay it for a month. But again, we don't know, what their finances are. Maybe they couldn't afford to. You have to consider that as well. But this year, I mean, this entire quarter is jam packed with games. Like next month, there's also a lot of releases. Yeah, we have still a Blade coming in April. I mean, we don't, and there are so many games that are set to will be released this year. We don't have a date yet, and probably games that we don't know are going to be released. So
There's not a lot we know
this
after
year is going to be
March, but January through March is crazy.
yeah.
yeah,
Like we
but
had.
there's a possibility this entire year is going to be crazy. And of course, you have the thing is like depending
Possibly.
on
All we know is
which month you
WooCon past
release
like
it.
March,
Like
pretty much.
you can, if you're not top seller, you shouldn't be in the conversation with a game like Final Fantasy, a game like Yakuza, a game like even Persona. Like you're not touching that. People are gonna
Uh,
prioritize a
well,
game like that.
the diff. Oh, hold on, Omar. There are some nuance there because obviously certain games cater to certain audiences, right? So if you are targeting your game at a particular audience that is not going to be playing those games, then that's not an issue. But if you're targeting, the general audience, that basically, the sort of mainstream audience, right? So yeah, something like who would like to play a game like Banish is definitely is in the same area as people who play Final Fantasy or like a Dragon. So yeah, there you definitely have a problem that you're going to release your game. It's a sandwich between these games that are competing for your attention or for the gamer's attention. But like I said, I don't know what their financial situation is like. Like if they could very well not have had a choice. Like they could have like okay, but if we delay the game for a month, we basically might go out of business. Like we don't we don't have the money to keep the lights on. So that could be a very very serious consideration for these studios. And the thing is, like on the one hand, like it's never a good time to release your games because like every month there are going to be releases and yeah, we see that this year is going to be probably crazier than last year from what
Yeah,
we're already seeing right now. So when is a good time to release? And what I want to say is like even if you think okay yeah maybe release it in June or July, right, or somewhere in the summer, because then those games are not there. But it's aside from the fact there might be some games there, you also have to consider that there's reasons why summer is often avoided for these big releases because people go on holiday, they don't game, so you're also automatically have a much smaller audience that will buy your game in that time window. So again, there's all these considerations you have to make. Like that's why during the holiday season you see a lot of big releases because they know that's a time when people buy their Christmas gifts, all that stuff. Like so they know that that's where you make the most sales, but that's going to be the most crowded window. And then yeah, like I said, you have sort of uh, you could say, hey, don't release your game then because it's going to be buried. On the other hand, maybe release your game then because people are spending a lot of money on games then, even games they're not going to play. So maybe they're going to buy your game. So you don't really know what the right answer is.
okay. It's funny. And wait, did you forget what topic we were talking about?
No, but Suicide Squad.
it became so insignificant that we started talking about
Well,
emotion of
it
AVM
is so
and release date
insignificant
and
because
managers. Like, I
the game is
see
trash. This is trash. Let's move on. Let's
Nelson.
bury it already. Tree made
I,
it.
I'm gonna give you the mic if you want to say anything about this trash of a game before we continue.
The only thing I want to say is that it's a damn shame that this is the last game that Kevin Conroy was playing. And if they're, because I mean, like fuck it, I don't think it's gonna anybody's gonna care that we're gonna spoil the fact that they really kill entire Justice League. But they're I guess that probably the plan is that they were bringing them back in the with the DLC whatever,
Yeah,
which never gonna
apparently.
happen. Yeah, but that's probably yeah. I mean, I think the idea was sort of
Is that a cop out?
flashpoint thing.
So is this
But
something that they did for shock value?
yeah, and probably for because they want you to keep buying their expansion so that you can get the ending you actually wanted to get, which now probably won't happen because they're probably going to just cancel this
Well, yeah,
entire roadmap.
I would not be surprised if this
Yeah.
gets cancelled. Let's have Nelson take on it, and I'm actually gonna ask a second question about this one. Go ahead, Nelson.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, this is a game I'll get when there's nothing out, and it's like $20 because there's just a lot better out there to play right now. I'm kind of curious to see how the story goes and stuff, but like when I pick up Helldivers, it's like I'm gonna be playing this on and off for maybe the rest of the generation. You know what I mean?
If they do it,
Suicide Squad, what? Yeah, and with Suicide Squad, I honestly just want to see the story because I'm gonna get bored very, very, very quickly. I got bored of the demo, and I only played for like 5 hours.
Damn. If you're bored of the
So,
beta, that's
or
terrible.
the beta, yeah, I was bored
Okay.
as shit.
So let me
So-
stay with you and ask you this: Why did they deviate to multiplayer? What I mean by that is they did single player with Batman and they stopped. Why not do Aquaman? Why not do why not just simply change the formula? You had something that worked and all of a sudden you went the other way around and look what happened.
Money, which is ironic because they're not gonna get
Money.
You're gonna lose money on
Now
this
Any of
they're
game
it.
and
losing
make
on
less
money.
make
Now
less than
they're
they did
losing
during
on
the
money.
Arkham
No,
series.
you're not listening. She said they did it because of money, but it's ironic, meaning it's funny because they did it for money, but they're going to lose money because the game is
Yeah.
essentially worse.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they made so much more with Arkham.
So they genuinely sat down and saw, this is it. This is what's gonna make money. What game was it? Clearly, from the look of it, they seem to be wanting Fortnite or something like that.
Everybody wants a Fortnite, but
There's
like,
a lot more.
Exactly.
I think one of the big problems is people are trying to build a multiplayer game with all these characters and yada 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 all into that. I think the only way that you can do it, and I think this is what Insomniac is doing when they make a multiplayer. You make a Spider-Man game, a Miles Morales games. You already have these characters built and flashed out, a Venom game, etc., etc. And since all these games built all separately on different budgets, and then you put them together and put them all in their own world, you're trying to do everything all at once. It just does not work because no character is unique. They don't. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
yeah,
You gotta do
Yeah.
too much at one time.
So this topic is going to be open to talk about it, discuss it very quick. Why couldn't they replicate what Insomniac did?
Wait,
you talking about with Spider-Man?
Yeah, like
It's not the
they
same
did
type of game.
Spider-Man, they did the
They already did that. They did that with
Miles
Batman.
Morales, and now they're doing Wolverine.
I mean, they did that already with the Arkham series.
Exactly.
They started that,
it's just
and
a
then
different
Insomniac
type
kind of
of
built off
game.
of that.
There's nothing to replicate. The fact that they went with a live service game.
You could say
already
Insomniac
inherently killed
replicated.
that.
You could argue Insomniac replicated them. with their formula.
Exactly.
It's funny how we have DC and now oh, give me, I need to make. So you have DC and you have Marvel. Both live services both died.
Yeah, I mean, we've
What's
seen
that?
live service successes and live service failures. It's just about how you execute it. You know, you can't write off the IP and just think that alone is going to make a successful game. You have to actually build upon it, make a decent game, decent story, good gameplay, addictive gameplay, so much so that people want to come back and play it again, drop whatever they're playing and play it again. And it's just, they just failed to capture that. This is why I say it's not easy to make a live service game. It's really not. Like, that's why you see so many get, so many are produced and yet so many fail. And then the ones that they bank on are usually the ones that fail, and the ones that people are like, yeah, that one's gonna fail is usually the ones that succeed. Like with Power and Helldivers 2, people underestimated the success of those games, even the developers and PlayStation, and they're like, wait, what? Like, oh shit, people love it.
I wanna read one comment from Twitter account. OD Direct, I guess his name is. So he said, and this paints a picture of what's happening. Nobody won from this sadly. Arkham fans got spat on. Rocksteady staff will face layoff for the failure. Their reputation ruined too. Warner Brother will have lost millions over this, and the few people who like this game will see servers shut down and lose money they invested into this. This single comment nailed it on the head. It's it's crazy that my issue. Here is my biggest issue. This is what I keep telling people. Gaming industry developers. Why is it so hard to learn from your peers?
I
What?
mean, because you're not,
No,
because
but
you're
listen though.
asking, but you're asking the question wrong though, because
What's my what?
it's not the developers, it's the publishers.
Exactly.
It's not them not learning from their peers. They have to, like, it's the publishers being like, how about we
Okay,
focus
fair
on live
point. Fair
service.
point. Because what make it worse is like so far the first one that I can remember died. It's Paragon. I don't know other games that died beforehand, but what I'm talking about, the first actual game that I remember died was the game from BioWare, Anthem. This was started the trend. Anthem died. Then we seen a few games died, and then um, the game from the Marvel died, and now we're seeing this one died.
Avengers.
Yeah, Avengers, and now Suicide Squad dead on arrival. Oh, and don't get me started on Foam Star. Don't get me started on Destruction All Star. Whatever happened to that game? Did I forget anything? So it's it's a shit show. It genuinely is. Hey, if that's how they feel about it, let them make their money, I guess.
Yeah, I get at the end of the day why publishers are doing it. I mean, they want that recurring income to be able to afford to keep making single player and other kind of games, because those games you only get the one time payoff, the 70 or the 50 or 20, however, much somebody maybe bought it on sale or borrowed it from a friend or game shared or whatever. But you only get, that one time payment with most of these single player games. And what these publishers are looking for is that recurring income to come in to fund everything else. So that's why they continuously try to find something that'll stick and make them money, and be that game that gets people to come back and spend on microtransactions and battle passes and things like that. So, like, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Like, I'm not a fan of 99% of the live service games out there, but I do understand that, the bills got to get paid some way. And, they're looking they're looking for that one, unicorn out there that's gonna take them and be there. Maybe not their Fortnite per se, because Fortnite is just, crazy, astronomically successful.
Yeah, when
But
you get a game that's
something,
delayed, it's like, hey, we still got income and to
yeah,
fucking pay the employees until we can get this bitch out.
yeah, they're just looking for
Keeping the
something
lights
that's
on.
a
You know what I mean?
shred of Fortnite, something that'll get them that recurring income. So we're gonna keep seeing that until these publishers find it, unfortunately.
Yep.
Going forward, let's jump to the next topic. Unless someone have anything else to say about this topic.
Absolutely not.
Okay, we beat it to death. So, from a game dying to a developer dying. So this to a studio dying, not developer. This studio is the developer behind Disco Elysium, and last and we heard this month that another layoff happened at them. But the difference between other layoff is this one they released the rest of the people that made the original game, and there were apparently sexism at the studio, and they canceled their newest uh, game that they've been working on, which is codename X7. X7, yeah. And rip to the studio, cause I can't see them recovering from this. It's over. Especially with how disastrous the gaming industry is now, I don't see them recovering from this. Weep, you played Disco Elysium. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a bloody shame. Uh, this collision was absolutely fantastic. I think yeah they also yeah most importantly they released or yeah released or let go the writers who were um, yeah of course instrumental for this because that was why this collision was so well received
Well,
because of fantastic writing.
they just fired that one of the scene writer.
Yeah, yeah,
He was
which is
the last person to leave from that set. So they had a hit on their hand. For some reason, my brain remembering they won Game of the Year. Apparently, they didn't, but they did get a
they were
nod.
yeah they were nominated and
They
they
were
probably won.
nominated. So how do you go
They probably
from
won game of the year in certain award shows. So
okay? How do you go from there to where they are right now? Manager?
yeah, absolute managerial failure. Yeah, there are people in charge of that company who yeah don't realize what a great thing they had and they totally fucked it up. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time,
Is it
unfortunately.
that hard to capitalize on your success?
You have to understand that a lot of these companies, these developers start
I
small.
don't know. I'm getting a little confused with this one. Like as like this is why I don't understand the people on the higher up. As a person, if you do something and you see it working, do you go out of your way and try something out of left field, or
It
do you tweak it?
it's all too look. It's all too easy that if you have a yeah leadership is that important, but for every great leader there are dozen bad ones. So and I mean there's so many development studios. There's so many game developers out there. Um, yeah, you have to of course have a certain talent to you know entrepreneurship, right? To be able to create a studio like that and draw in people. But not everybody is able to also lead that, and especially if they grow. Like if you have a success on your hands, that can definitely be. It could have been a matter of time. It can also be a moment that sort of a watershed moment for your studio. You grow, and then if you have a very small team, right, it's much easier to manage that than when it grows to dozens till hundreds of developers. Like if you're not capable of doing that, if you can't manage it, if you don't, delegate or hire the right people, then yeah, then you're yeah you're at the risk of failure. And of course, there are it's possible indeed that leadership will get cocky, right? They think that they're same as C Project Red, right? They're a lot bigger than that, and they sort of got back on their feet, but you know, the way that Cyberpunk was released so disastrously, that didn't work on old gen consoles at all, basically. That was they admitted that was because they deemed themselves to be invincible after Witcher 3, and yeah, they had to work hard to get back that goodwill, right? And you can imagine that with other studios, that have a success that can happen as well. And yeah, there's the problem is that if your management doesn't listen or doesn't care for the real talent that made that happen, and you know, all I don't even exactly know what their problem is. It's possible that they're just chasing money. It's possible that they're, it was a politics, right? That they're just were interested in, you know, defending or expanding their own position, or maybe they were just, going bonkers and had no idea what they were doing. And I mean, if this is a company with a culture, as you've also mentioned, a lot of sexism going around, yeah, that's not a healthy work environment. So that, yeah, I'd say that the studio probably is dead, right? I mean, if all the people that were responsible for your hit game are gone, you know, you're left with an empty shell. You're left with, the people that, not to say that there are no other talent people working there, but the people that are left there, they're essentially probably on a sinking ship, and hopefully the talented people that made Disco Elysium, hopefully they're able to, of course, find, and probably a lot of them already have found a job, elsewhere, but they get hired by talented developers who appreciate them, or maybe we get lucky and they come together and form their own studio. Maybe we'll get something like a spiritual successor of the game. I'm sure that if you have this collection of talent together, and they're you know potentially could do something like that, you could find funding from somebody else. Hell, maybe even EA, because sometimes they do fund smaller studios to create something great without setting it up to fail. Um, but that's again, I don't know the intricacies there, so I don't know, where these people went to after they left. But yeah, I mean, it can happen. Like this is this is reality more. It's not. People don't always behave rationally. Don't always behave in what you hope they would do. There are always bad actors in every industry, in every business, that can potentially ruin a good thing.
I see. Um, anyone have anything else to say about this topic? Cause he is the only one that played it, so far I know.
Again,
Morgan
I
said
told
she
you earlier that I
played.
played it, sir.
Oh, you did. I thought you played
I
something else.
said
But okay. So,
Disco
what's your thoughts
Elysium,
on it?
sir. Uh, well, yeah, it is like we've said, it's sad. Um, yeah, it's kind of ironic that with a game like Disco Elysium that takes on kind of taboo topics like racism and politics, fascism, sexism, that they're having these same issues now in the studio. It's like
The
you just
irony.
wonder. I'm just like, did they even bother playing the game? The people who are making these decisions. But yeah, it was such a creative, like small, like indie project that like the story was really good. I got distracted because I think a Sony game had come out and I put it to the side. But from what I played, I'm definitely gonna replay it now.
Mm.
It was really good. Like there were just a lot there's a lot of symbolism and it really makes you think in that game, especially with the choices you have to make about what kind of cop you want to be in the game.
I
But
know it didn't hold back. I know there is racism in that, sexism and everything that you
yeah,
just
it
mentioned.
really put it to the forefront, and you really had to make decisions based
You
on it.
would
And
think a game like this would be cancelled, don't you?
no,
No, because it
I
was on
mean,
PC first.
Why,
yeah,
why would it be cancelled, Omar?
well,
It's a
because um, another game that had racism in it, people called it out. I forgot what game it is, the name of it,
You also
but
forget
oh, oh, oh,
popularity plays a key into ignorant people knowing about something, and this game was critically
but
acclaimed
hold
but
on.
not popular.
There's I think there we should be clear, Omar. There's a difference between a game that's unironically racist, that's racist because the people who made it are racist, and they're just basically
mm-hmm.
using that as a way to spread their racist idea. And there are games that
Actually
talk about the
tackle the
subject of
real.
racism, and
no,
yeah, you
basically,
can in this realism you can actually you can shape your character, right, and you can
Mm-hmm.
make him, for example, a racist, or you
Yep.
can because he's mentally very unstable. So depending on your choices, you can make him a fascist, you can make him a communist,
Mm-hmm.
you can do whatever the fuck you want. That's how deep the role playing goes there. But
mhm,
it's not presented as anything aspirational, or presenting that he's like
Right.
a decent person, or that's the right choice. Like it always has consequence. That's the strength of the game is that you can do so many things, and it's also extremely funny how your decisions can sometimes just backfire. You can completely land on your ass, doing something that, of course,
Mm-hmm.
is very
so your
stupid. And
consequences, so your choices matter. There are consequences in the
yeah,
game. Okay,
Yeah,
I
if
see.
you choose to
but it's
be like a racist, like half the time somebody who you need something from happens to be of the race that you're racist against, and now you can't get that
yeah,
thing
Mm,
because they don't want to mess with you, or they know you're a racist. But yeah, like we've said, everything has a consequence, and it tackles it in a respectful way, in a
mhm,
real way, and not like plays around with it. Like it shows respect to it. And
I see.
they put a lot of they put a lot of work into this game. Like there's so many layers to this game, and the characters and the side characters, and even the like I love the reptilian mind that's always like narrating in the back in the
mhm,
foreground. um yeah, it's a really deep game, but
Mm,
it's really sad that they're going through this, and that a lot of the developers who worked on this are, I guess, now gone, whether
gone.
it's voluntarily or fired. um it sucks because when you have like a talent like this, not every day where you're able to make a game like Disco Elysium, that just kind of falls to the wayside because I guess once again this industry is aiming towards dead brain live service games where you just you kind of do the same thing over and over and over again. And creative games like this kind of fall by the wayside. But I'm kind of hoping we get that new game revelation where we come back to the creative side of gaming again. But yeah, I feel really bad for these, but I hope they're able to pick themselves up and maybe create their own studio. Maybe get funded by PlayStation or Xbox or something and be able to make their own games the way they want to. Because it would honestly be sad for talent like they have to go to waste on something that they don't want to do. But yeah.
I see. I see. I see. Anyone have anything else to say about this topic? Then
There also seems to be this was looking into it, a legal battle between the studio and the head uh, designer writer of the game about
Oh
the
man.
ownership of the IP. So
Oh wow.
there's probably never going to be a sequel to Disco Elysium
Oh wow. Okay.
anyway.
so next game, next topic. Sony confirms Rise of the Ronin was never officially announced for release in Korea. So apparently the game was supposed to come out in Korea, but then Sony is saying no, it wasn't. And yeah, all by all, Sony is not gonna release this game in North Korea. Is that gonna impact sales or is not significant enough?
When has South Korea ever been significant in the
Yeah,
sales of
I
a
don't
PlayStation
I,
game?
I don't know if I've
I
never seen
mean,
like the
they are,
numbers, so I
to
don't
be
really
fair,
know.
they are trying to, go in that market.
I mean, going in that market is not. It still doesn't matter. It doesn't make them significant in the sales of the game, though. I mean, they can
So
enter
yeah,
that
I don't
market.
think they'll be missing much. Like not
Mm-hmm.
to disrespect, South Korean gamers, because I'm sure there's at least one or two that wanted to play the game, but I don't think it would
I
be that
mean,
big of a loss.
what's crazy is you can't even get it on the store. So what I would do is I would just make a different account and play it there. I'm pretty sure if you paid a Malaysian account or a Japanese account, you should be able to get it.
Gamers will
Yeah,
figure out a way to play the game if they really want to.
yeah,
Yeah.
just change the ISP or whatever.
So
But
this,
there's a chance that they don't want to because
so
they're
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Do you want to address that, Omar?
go ahead.
What Well, what one of the reasons seems to be why it's not coming in Korea is because of one of the creators of the game has made a very controversial statement where he uh, it seems that he sort of admires a Japanese philosopher who was very supportive of essentially the invasion of Korea by Japan, and he compared them to the Japanese, I think Socrates.
yeah,
So and that obviously probably is sort of entrenched in at least that's probably somewhat uh, apparent in the game. So it's not surprising that game didn't get a Korean release, and yeah, if there are a lot of Korean gamers who, I mean, they're still quite sensitive about any history, with Japan. So if there are any Korean players who are sensitive towards that, they will likely not buy this game at all.
So the thing is, there is actually layers to this. I didn't comment on them because at the end of the day, they said that it's insignificant, but it's very interesting. So the suggestion is that the game had been cancelled because the South Korean rating board, the Game Rating and Administration Committee (GRAC), had rated Rise of the Ronin despite it not launching. But this situation isn't particularly rare. Mortal Kombat 11 for PlayStation 4 was simply similarly rated by the GRC, despite never launching in South Korea. And then the claims was Rise of the Ronin was removed from PlayStation Store are also unfounded. PlayStation Store tracking website, apparently there is a website for that called Flat Prices, has no listing for a South Korean version of Rise of the Ronin. So it's a he said, she said type of scenario. We will never get to the bottom of it if they actually removed it or not.
I mean, either
Well,
way,
And
it's not coming.
yeah, but it's pretty apparent that I mean I'm not just I don't think it's just because the director, the game director, made us say that it's probably they've reviewed the game and they probably thought because it was by the way a diplomat, not a philosopher
If
who they're sort of trying to portray positively in the game, and Korea is quite sensitive towards that. So it's not surprising that the game would not be released there. And whether or not they it got rejected, or whether they just didn't bother because they figured it's not gonna happen. It's yeah, we don't know, but uh, I'd say don't think there's any sort of sensible reason to not release it in Korea unless you figured you would never get it past the censors or the ratings board or whatever big box you have to check to get it released in Korea.
my issue with it is as follow. Developers keep shooting themselves in the foot. Is it so hard to promote your game through gameplay or story? Like, this is not the first developer that shot himself in the foot. I'm looking at the studio behind Final Fantasy 16. Every single comment he kept saying he alienated his fan base. And then now we have this. Like, I don't know,
Well,
it... Yeah, go
well,
ahead.
well, I mean, you have to also consider it. People who are in this creative business, like they have generally big egos. They generally like to speak their mind, and they will probably have controversial opinions. I mean, uh, yeah, you can say whatever you want of Kojima, but the man has an ego the size of the moon, right? I mean, and he absolutely has every right to have it because he's a genius. But uh, the thing is, like, it comes to the territory. Like, it's probably going to be if that's sort of off-putting to you. I mean, that it is what it is, right? And he has like when Death Stranding, for example, came out, or the reviews came out, and you saw some people were complaining about it, right? That they didn't get it or call the UPS simulator. Like he said, like, yeah, American gamers,
No,
yeah,
so
they're used to.
that was apparently a lie. That wasn't translated accurately.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean,
We
I
actually
would,
gonna
I
talk
would,
about that trending,
I,
cause
I
long
would say the
behold,
same thing if
no, no,
that
no,
like,
it's
and
actually
it is possible that it was entirely accurate, but the thing is, like, it would not surprise anybody if Kojima said that, because and the thing is, like, yeah, because when that came out, a lot of people were still saying, yeah, you're right, and sure, there's absolutely an element of truth in it, but it's the same extent as, like, if you're creative like that, you will more than likely say something that, yeah, maybe, as you say, you could alienate a certain fan base, because you take a certain pride in your work, and you have an ego that that you're able to, that you're not gonna filter yourself. You're not gonna not say that. And the thing is, like, I think in this case, it is also it's not necessarily comparable to that, but more like, yeah, this is the vision of that director, but also a problem sort of with Japan has a problem with sort of facing its own history in terms of what it did to other countries. Like, there's still even people in high positions, also in gaming, like the composer of the Dragon Quest series, who I think he passed away, but the same guy who essentially fucked us over with Dragon Quest 11 on PlayStation by giving us the MIDI score instead of the orchestral score, because he didn't want to have it released outside of Japan at that time. But he was also part of a committee that essentially was denying Japan's war crimes, right? So there is definitely a problem there, and there's definitely there are some people that will have a sort of romanticized idea of the past and might indeed generally believe that people who are very controversial outside of Japan and might even be war criminals uh, have a sort of romantic picture of them and admire them. And yeah, if you're making a game, where you addressing that piece of history and where you put that person in and I should have pedestal or whatever, but at least has an influence on the story, and you're trying to portray that person in a sort of glorified, romanticized version of that character. Yeah, you will likely alienate people within that country that consider that person a war criminal or whatever they consider him. And yeah, I mean it is I don't think you could of course shut up, but I don't think you would have gotten away with it because when Korea, especially with historical games like that, or stories like that, they will certainly check that and determine, okay, is this not Japan trying to romanticize their past or shirking away from their responsibility or trying to showing a revisionist version of history, right? And they would probably abandon it just as well. So the only problem that's might cause is that from an outside perspective that people also outside of Korea now are aware of that and might not consider buying it because they're also like, okay, dude, I don't only want to play a game somebody who has might have a distorted view of history. But I don't know. I mean that's something that I'm not very familiar with that part of history with this person that this diplomat that they're trying to portray in a positive light. But I sure that sense you could have said maybe he should have shut up. But on the other hand, like since he generally believes that, since possibly that person is not controversial in Japan itself, he might not even have considered that, right? He might not, consider what he's saying as anything bad because that might be a view that's, generally acceptable in Japan. So you do have to keep that context in mind.
Okay. Anyone have anything else to say about the topic? No. I'm very quick because you mentioned it, but I also wanted to make it a quick topic because I absolutely don't agree with it. Um, Normal readers apparently say that Death Stranding 2 is gonna have a lot way more gunfight. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a Kojima whore. So, as someone that truly, truly, truly love Death Stranding because of what it is, not because who made it, I hate this new information. Mostly because Death Stranding was never about the gunfight. It was about the day to day from point A to point B. Getting attacked made sense because situation get fucked up and people gonna dominate and stuff like that, right? That makes sense. The mules existing made sense. You fighting BTs with blood guns, okay, I will give you that. Or I forgot which, or you pissed, or which I never used that, but okay. But putting more gunplay in the game, I don't see how, like, you are going away from what you wanted your IP to be. Now you're just pandering to other people that love action.
I think you're assuming. You don't know if he's pandering. You haven't
Sorry?
played the game yet. I said I think you're assuming. We haven't seen the
How am I
gunplay. We haven't
assuming?
seen
Like the
because
first
why are
game
you assuming that he's
didn't,
pandering? How do you know this isn't part of the story he wanted to tell?
because the first game didn't have that. Unless it is
Oh,
doing, it didn't have that to such degree.
So just because you add some more stuff to a sequel doesn't mean you're pandering.
Literally, he just said the comments that was turned out
Did
to
he
be
say we were
fake,
pandering?
and people jump on it. No, that Americans only love gunplay.
Who said that?
We've said it, but it's toward Kojima. Apparently, uh, people translated Kojima saying that, which he never did.
So he didn't
Or
say it.
he made a comment that what Kojima did.
What? So but you said that comment was mistranslated.
It was, yeah. It was confirmed to be mistranslated.
Okay.
But my issue still stands that, in my opinion, just my opinion, Death
Okay.
Stranding
See,
doesn't
but Omar, you
need.
do this all the time before a game comes out. You don't like what you hear about the direction of something changing. Then you end up playing it and you're like, okay, guys, I take the L on that. That was
No,
wrong.
I never took an Animal 16 though.
I don't even remember what your opinion was on 16.
Oh, wow. I was against it from the get-go. And in the end, I turned to be correct with this one.
Yeah, but you were upset about the lack of turn base or something. What
No,
was
so
your?
I was upset about it not being turn-based, and I also said that gameplay from what I've seen is not gonna top DMC, and it didn't. If you can't top DMC one, you're not gonna do well, gameplay wise. Yeah, it's your
It
go-to.
wasn't bad,
Congratulations.
but okay, but it wasn't as bad as you making it seem. Though it's not like it was
Oh, it
a horrible game.
absolutely is if you're a fan of action, like I am. Did you play DMC?
No.
That then you don't know how it feels.
Okay, Omar.
I know what I
DMC
mean.
is a
No,
lot
no,
better
no.
combat than 16.
What I mostly mean by that is how different the gameplay is when it comes to Devil May Cry, which what they tried to do and failed at.
Okay, but getting back to
Yeah, going
topic
back
of
to
Death
it. Yeah.
Stranding 2. But again, we don't know how the gunplay is going to be implemented. We don't know how much it's going to be. We don't know, what the situation calls for. Like, like you're assuming that the storytelling and everything that you loved about Death Stranding is going to go away because there's more gunplay, and you don't know that.
No, I never said anything about the story.
Yes,
I'm
you
more
did.
focused. No, I know. I said about the gameplay. I said
But
I
a lot,
listened
most of the gameplay is us walking. Like, that's how. Why do you assume that's going to go away because there's guns now?
because they literally said there's going to be more. Give me a second. I'm gonna have the exact same
Having
quote.
more of something doesn't mean you're going to take away
Focus
from something.
on violence which I like, and hinting at more gunplay.
But again, that doesn't mean that what you liked about Death Stranding is going to go away.
Okay, we will see.
Yeah, I just think you're jumping
That
the
just
gun
could
a
mean
little
you're
bit because we
instead
haven't
of
even seen.
just walking, you'll be walking and shooting.
Yeah, it's like we haven't seen how the gunplay is going to be implemented into the game yet, so we don't even really
Apparently.
know.
Okay, so let's
It could be
wait out.
just as good as Death Stranding 1, just with
It could be.
gunplay.
It could be.
Yeah, I just you tend to have a pessimistic view whenever a game you like
No,
changes things.
no. I literally played the trending one. The gunplay.
I know, I played it too. I know.
Yes, it was iffy. Not iffy. It was passable.
Yeah. And so
I
if they made
didn't.
it better, would you not like that?
Sorry.
So if they made it better, since you said it was passable, so if they made the gunplay better in the second game, would you not like that?
I would.
Okay. So I wouldn't
Really? It
look at
sounds
it
like
as
you
a
just want to
bad
go for a
thing.
walk. I'm confused.
Yeah, I wouldn't look at it as a bad thing yet, because I'm look, Kojima's gonna be Kojima at the end of the day, and he's still gonna
Yeah,
do his
he's
crazy
yes.
shit, tell his crazy stories, do his crazy cutscenes and links and everything else where you're not really gonna know what the hell's going on till the end of the damn game. Like, you ain't gotta worry about that. He's still gonna be, the game's still gonna be Kojima to death. So it's still gonna have the quality that you loved about the first game, especially with from what we've seen, the different landscapes, the different, now we have different modes of transportation. You know, it didn't show like from the trailer that we're doing anything vastly different from the first game, right? Sam's still lugging his cargo from point A to point B. We're kind of in a new area. I'm sure there's gonna be more stuff and to do and things like that. But it looks like the main meat of the game is still saying the same. We're still being our, delivery man across the vast, you
The
know.
FedEx, the
Yeah,
FedEx
and that
guy.
as long as that stays good, I don't mind if we got some guns introduced, and I'm sure it won't be straight up gunplay because, as you know, once you kill somebody, the consequences of doing that, is kind of catastrophic. Dead bodies can't be just out there, so I'm sure it's going to be some kind of way to incorporate that without having to actually,
I mean, he did
kill and
find a
get like
way
a giant
around that, did
crater.
he not? With that gun that puts him unconscious?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It might be like an unconscious kind of situation or something like that. Like more of that, maybe. Because, like I said, we know the consequences of killing somebody in that world. Fucking nuke going off. So, I'm sure Kojima's gonna think of some creative way to incorporate that into the game. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Unless, of course we get early reviews or something that says, yeah, this is, if you were a fan of the first one, you may not like the second, some shit like that. Then I'd be like, all right, okay, then we got something to worry about. But from what we've seen thus far, and the setting of mystery that's still over what the hell the second game's gonna be, and these characters that we've seen with Troy coming back and everything, I still think it's gonna be a good time. Just a little bit more action, maybe.
Anyone have anything else to say about this one? Nope. Then let's get back to the actual topic. This is actually
No,
for you,
no, no, no,
Morgan.
no, 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 not
Yeah,
not so fast,
go
man.
ahead.
Because you might not be Kojima whore, but I am.
Oh, he admits
I
it.
second that.
Go ahead.
I second that.
Yeah. But here's the thing: like I've played enough Kojima games that I can also be critical on them. And look, I love Death Stranding, but I also can be critical on because I do think that the writing was a bit weak at times. So and I really got good by the end of it. And yeah, Troy Baker definitely is casting too many games.
I
So
do
I do.
agree that the writing kept you waiting. I agree with that one.
Yeah. So but here's the thing is I'm not worried at all because you're the problem also is that you don't have a history. Like you haven't played the Metal Gear games.
No, I
If you
haven't.
had, you would have known that there's absolutely nothing to worry about. Because yeah, you can go guns blazing in Metal Gear games. The thing is like that's not how you should play it because it's a
It's
stealth game
stealth.
and
Exactly.
you're not gonna get there are obviously consequences. Like I mean I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but if you go around killing everybody in Metal Gear Solid 3, you're gonna pay a price for that. Just leave it at that. But
You're gonna walk
but
forever. You gotta see every one of them. It's fucking long. Fuck. I
Nelson,
realized I killed a
I
small
didn't want to
country.
spoil it for Omar. Omar is a Metal Gear virgin, so please.
If he ain't played, it's been out for 20 years.
Yeah,
Played it, he
but
ain't
Doesn't
playing
matter.
it.
I never
we're gonna
touched
get a
them. I
remake.
played
So
the
so
demo,
so
so I'm gonna
the
play the remake. But I didn't even hear what Nelson said, so don't worry
yeah
about it.
that's fine. That's fine. You're bad hearing savior this time. But the thing is like yes you could do that and it's certainly possible to to just shoot everybody you come across in Metal Gear, but again it's not the way that the game is designed to play. So it's not like it's stopping you from doing that, but it obviously has consequences, and the game is giving you so many options not to do it. Like you're supposed to do this stealthily. You're supposed to play the game, in the way, yeah, well, as you want, but also in the way that's fitting to the character. So it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna change the game fundamentally. It's just that they're gonna be uh, probably narrative driven. There's gonna be more action because you also now seem to have these robots that you're fighting, right? And yeah, I mean, it's going to be more violence. So obviously, if it's going to be more violent, it's going to have more action to it. But it doesn't mean that the game will fundamentally change because what we've seen, this is the core, like whatever Kojima wants to call the strand, like genre, as if that is a new genre, whatever. But the thing is, like, it's gonna be essentially, yeah, the same as Death Stranding one, but he obviously gonna add things to it, gonna add layers to it, gonna improve things to it, which is something you should cheer upon. But look, I get it because again, you don't have sort of that history with Kojima, so you don't know what his games are about, his previous games are about, but I mean, it's gonna be all right. Like from what we've seen so far, at least I'm excited for it. I mean, again, you have no clue, where he's going with this, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love it because I kind of have the feeling that here, with the success of the first game, it's kind of like, okay, I've seen like he can get away with this. Like people are willing to indulge him, and he's just gonna go, balls to wall crazy with this, and I love it. I'm there for it. So I'm not worried about it, and I don't think you should be worried about it either because it's not going to take away the Death Stranding gameplay that you love. It's only going to enhance it. So
Mm-hmm. Okay, very quick.
be bear with it, be
100%.
patient, and
Agreed.
if you get a chance, start playing the Metal Gear games before Death Stranding 2 trials because
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I'm gonna
I'm
play it
willing to
at some
bet you're gonna
point.
appreciate it even more.
Okay. Very quick. Innate, you here?
He is not.
Yeah, I thought because we went up the cliff with the gaming film roll. Because he's showing now gameplay from something else, and I'm afraid of copyright because it's from a YouTuber now. Hey, T-Fresh, what's up? I actually wanna give uh, Hero Down Under a shout out because he put a paragraph when it comes to the live service and we couldn't get to it. And he said something about me. He said, Omar, I don't know you. You see, I don't know how you seem to get close-minded so fast, so irregularly. Basically, this is me. I say what I want to say. I don't hold back. I have no filter. However, I'm never gonna let that from have me play the game and judge it by myself. If I have access to something, then I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna judge it for myself. I have never, ever, at least so far I know, not touched a game because lack of a mechanic or because it changed studio or whatsoever. Yes, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna voice my concern, but I'm not gonna be as close-minded to not play it. Talking about it is fine, but not playing it because it's a certain console or because it went a different route, hey, that's the personal opinion then. In my mind, that's then you're close-minded. But anyone have anything, any Kojima horse over here now? No? Oh, and by
Nope.
the way, Weeb, I question
From
who is the
from
biggest horse?
NES to Gear Solid 4, but not really so much after.
Okay.
Uh,
I
I'm willing to bet I am.
no, I wanna ask you, and I'm curious who's gonna say who is the biggest Kojima fan, you or Jeff Keighley? Hey, I gave you a challenger, a worthy challenger, didn't I?
Yeah. Okay. But Jeff is you know is a waifu of Kojima, so I can't top that.
Okay, so how about this? Who is the biggest fan, you or Morgan?
Probably Weeb.
Uh-huh. Okay. And with that being said, let's jump to the next topic. And Morgan, you're in. Your favorite, your darling, that's called Alan Wake 2. It's the fastest selling Remedy game, but yet to
Love to hear
turn to a profit. What's up? How
You
can
said,
you be
but
the fastest selling game, Remedy game, yet to turn profit?
I mean,
Didn't you? I think you were close of winning Game of the Year. You won a few awards. Shouldn't that translate to sales?
None of
I
the games sell
mean,
good. Period.
you know, Alan Wake, it's a horror type of game, and that's not everybody's jam. You know, I even had to push myself to play it because horror is not my cup of
Well,
tea when it comes to genre of games. So you're gonna get a smaller fan base just with that alone. And um,
so I
in
think
my
you would have
opinion,
made use of this new setting. Apparently, it downplay uh, a jump scare.
yeah, and and the jump scares weren't actually that bad, but in my opinion, they didn't have as strong of marketing as they could have. Um, and also, I know a lot of companies think that a lack of physical helps them sell more, but when you don't have those physical in the stores to be recommended to like the casuals, like, hey, I'm looking for, it came out near Halloween, right? And people love to watch scary movies, play scary games, all that kind of stuff to get into the spirit of Halloween. And if casual came to the store, they're looking for something to play. GameStop, they're not going to recommend some digital. They're going to recommend something that's in the store. So like, if the store doesn't have it, you can't talk about it. People can't come look at the box art and be like, what's this? So I think the lack of physical also, kind of inhibited their sales, especially in like areas and countries that, don't have the internet capabilities to be a digital only type of platform. So yeah, and I think aren't they exclusive to like the Epic Store? Or I can't
I
remember.
thought
I think on
they were. Let me look it up.
Yeah, I think on PC they may be, and that's like a big thing. Like PC dudes just
Nobody
they
uses
they just
Epic.
have this loyalty to Steam, and like if a game is not available on Steam, a lot of them will not play it. So there was like a lot of factors working against this game, even though it's a great game, and
Yeah,
it was a
so Alan Wake 2 isn't on Steam because it's published by Epic Games.
yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, so it's exclusive to Epic Games, so that's another big hit. Like I said, Steam, like there's a lot of Steam loyalists, and on PC especially. Well, obviously, but most PC guys prefer Steam to Epic. So if you force them to go to the Epic store to buy a game, they're just not going to do it. But yeah, it just had a lot of factors working against the game. Even though it was a great game, it was Game of the Year. I'm sure winning Game of the Year and being in that public eye and being on Jeff's stage with the nominations, and they won some. That helped put their game out there and in the light. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's a genre that that a lot of people are a little wary of just because it's scary, and it is very narrative focused. And especially if you haven't played the first one, you're going to be you're going to be lost essentially, where at least to where the story is going with the second one. And I think that kind of keeps people from playing it because you have horror games like Resident Evil where you don't really necessarily need to play the one before it to kind of get it, especially like the early ones. You could just play 2 by itself or 4 by itself and you're good to go as far as like keeping up with the story. But when it comes to Alan Wake, you really need to have played the first one. And honestly, playing like games like Control too as well, and all the DLC for the first Alan Wake to really get a full idea of everything that's going on in that universe, because a lot of these games are connected when it comes to Remedy. So yeah, I think that kind of put some people off that, because a lot of people will ask like, should I play the first one before I play the second one? We see that all the time with like any game when it comes to a sequel. Like, do I need to play the first one? And with this game, yeah, you kind of do. Like if you really want to know what the hell's going on and not be confused 99% of the time playing this game, you really need to play the first one. And that kind of, like I said, it's a good thing they remastered it, updated for the consoles and it's on PS5 and everything because it was exclusive to Xbox originally. But still, even then, some people are kind of wary to playing an older game like that and they just don't really want to. And they'll just put a game off and not play it at all. Like, I don't really feel like playing the first one, so I'm just not gonna play the sequel. But it's a shame. But I'm excited for them though. Other than that, though, that's still an accolade that they got. The fastest selling Remedy game, and it speaks to the production value. Like they really went all out with Alan Wake 2. It's a very beautiful looking game. And I can't wait. Like they said, because of the success of Alan Wake 2, now they're able to, you know, speed up production for Control 2 and for their Max Payne remakes or remasters. I can't remember which it is. So that I am ecstatic about that because I cannot wait. I loved Control. Control is my favorite Remedy game, and I cannot wait for the sequel. Yeah, and I can't wait for those Max Payne, remakes or remasters either, because those are, at least if you're a PlayStation fan, they're stuck on the PS3 essentially. You can't really play them. So getting those updated for current gen consoles would be fantastic. But shout out to Remedy. I'm not gonna look at it as a bad thing because, like you said, it's the fastest selling game they've had, so it's still a success, even though it hasn't really made profit for them. I'm sure it will eventually. I mean, it's only been like 6 months since the game came out. Well, it's like October.
I think
Or
Control
whatever.
is their best selling game ever, and that sold like 3 million in its lifetime.
Yeah, and I think Alan Wake 2, I think it'll surpass that or at least get to that. So I'm gonna give it time.
Eventually.
Like I said, yeah, eventually. It's only been about 6 months since it came out, so give it time. I'm sure it will turn a profit for them, eventually. But yeah, good game, great game. Congratulations to Remedy for all their awards, getting that Game of the Year nomination. I'm sure they were ecstatic about that. I saw them, all the developers and everything, tweeting about it. So happy that all the work they put in on this game. It was a sequel a long time coming. Like
Didn't
10
they
plus
win
years in the making.
the music best of game of the year for music of the year award?
I know Hi-Fi won one of those. Like, there's two different
No,
music
they
awards.
won the audio, right, of the
The
year, I think.
audio, I think.
Yeah,
I don't remember who won
I
music.
remember
I
when
thought it
the
was Baldur's.
music for what you call it, Alan Wake 2 came, like it was an orchestra.
I can't. I think it was. I feel like it was Baldur's Gate or something like that. I can't. I could be wrong, but I think they won a, like, animation or something like that. They won something at the Jeff Keighley's Awards. I think they won a couple actually. I think it was for their best writing or best something like that. Like, but yeah, they took home some trophies. That's all I know. So congrats to Remedy and the team. And I cannot wait for Control 2. That'll be day one for me. All right, I cannot wait to see how that story folds out.
Okay, so they won best art direction,
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. Yeah, art and then like narrative or something, right?
and that's about it. There is no narrative, I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at it right now. Best, oh yeah, so best art direction, best narrative, and best game direction. So
Okay,
they did
yeah, I knew it was. I knew
win
they
a
got one for
couple.
narrative. Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay,
saying. They
go
went home.
ahead.
They went home with a couple. Yeah.
So they won a couple. It's crazy.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone have anything else to say about this topic? So far, I know only two people played it. I know Nate played a little bit of it, and I know Morgan finished it. Cause I was watching her and she kicked me out. Cause she said that's end game story and I shouldn't watch that, which I didn't.
Yeah, you were trying to watch it, sir, and you wanted to
I
play
was
it. It's
watching
like,
the
no.
gameplay. That's it, to see how it improved on
Oh
one. Cause
man,
one was. Nate, you here?
he is not.
I saw his um mouse keep
Saw his mouth.
move,
Okay.
but apparently it's not here anymore. Okay. Let's jump to the next topic. We're flying through them. Well, Flying.
Are we? Are we?
We are. Shut up.
In like 2 hours and 30 minutes. I don't think that dictates
we-
flying, but
We got. Shut up. We're flying. Enough. We're
maybe in
flying.
Omar terms that's considered
We
flying. But
are.
okay.
We are flying. Shut up. Okay, so the next topic is actually gonna be a good one.
As opposed to the other one?
PlayStation FY
Thanks for nothing,
23
Omar.
Q3 results. So, 8.2 million consoles shipped for the quarter. PlayStation 5 sitting at 54.8 million lifetime. Spider-Man 2 has sold 10 million units.
Yep.
Gotta give them their flowers.
Mhm.
When how
Shout
dog
out to
shit
Samir.
the other games are, you gotta give them their flowers. 123 million monthly active users, 16.2 million first-party games sold in the quarter, and digital software. This is the interesting part. A ratio at 66%. So even PlayStation is heading digital now.
Yeah, I think that's still a good number for physical though. Like honestly, in
Mhm.
this day and age, surprised it wasn't like 20.
Yeah, I thought it was.
You know?
Yeah, I thought it'd be 20 or less. To be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah, Omar, you're not rid of us yet.
what's your thoughts on PlayStation right now? And are you happy with 2 to 10 million for Spidey 2? And I need to stress this enough because this is gonna correlate to this topic, which is basically conversation about Capcom sales, game sales, and Dragon Dogma sold 8.4 million in 10 years. Let that sink in. Yet you have here one game selling 10 million in less than a year. This is what I wanted to talk about. This is what shocked me the most. That I
Yeah,
knew
but
that
one
PlayStation
didn't
came.
spend 100 million on marketing and 150 million to Disney either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but remove Spider-Man. I can name Forbidden West. I can name God of War. Both of
Yes, but
them
that's what
sold 10
Nelson's
million
saying
here.
though. Like PlayStation spends
Disney
tens to
spends over
hundreds of
double
million
what
dollars
Capcom does on
on
their games.
marketing. I remember with God of War Ragnarok, I remember there was the axe everywhere, like in New York and in like Dublin and everywhere. Like
Oh yeah.
they on the subway, like they go crazy when PlayStation markets their games. They go full out all over the world in countries, all the popular countries in Paris and everything like that. Their marketing is crazy, so that's why they have such a great investment on return. But you know, everybody, all the publishers and developers can't afford to spend money like that PlayStation can. So that's why you'll see PlayStation, plus the fact that their games are, of course, high quality games. Because you can do all the marketing in the world, but if the game is ass, then it's not going to sell anything. But the marketing with the high quality game, you mix that with that, and you're gonna have like a successful game selling tens of millions of copies. But there's plenty of great games that just can't get those sales just purely because the marketing just isn't there. People just don't know about the
There's
game.
only a handful of games that may sell over 5-10 million
Yeah.
a year that aren't Madden. There's only a couple.
The big three.
Like
Call
5
of Duty.
million is like huge. You a big player if you hit 5 million lifetime.
It
I
really
don't think
is,
people
and
really realize that.
people try to undermine it, like, oh, they only sold 10. Like I thought it would sell more. Like that. Like that's like a underachievement.
Yeah, like your best game sold 2.5. What the fuck are we talking about?
They just try to belittle PlayStation like it's just not an achievement in the slightest to sell 10 million. Like, oh, it's Spider-Man. I thought it would sell more. I'm like, I name another single player IP that, especially one that's exclusive to one platform, that is able to sell like that.
Spider-Man on
Outside of
Activision, the
Nintendo.
last one sold like 3 million and it was on fucking everything. So,
Yep.
okay.
But go ahead, Omar.
Nate, what's your thought?
You keep calling this man, and he's not here.
No,
Nice try.
I I thought it is, but no, apparently it's still not. Okay, so Seafresh, Spider-Man 2 wants a bunch of DICE awards. Yeah, sadly it didn't win GOTY,
Oh, it wasn't gonna win Goaty, but I'm happy that they won a bunch of other awards
I
though.
mean, they always, so this is with PlayStation games, they always win the technical aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
like the design, gameplay design. Like,
Yeah,
for example, I know Ratchet and Clank won it. I'm not sure if Forbidden West won it,
I think they did. I think they did. I can't like
because both
I
of
can't
them
remember.
displayed something new and amazing. And I don't know if Spider-Man 2 won the technical aspect of it.
It
They
did.
did win
It did.
Action of the Year,
It did win the
which,
technical.
okay, so they so clearly PlayStation is pushing the industry forward.
Yeah, I mean, the Dice Awards is, it's more of a peer based,
I
situation, like the
mean,
developers and publish. So
yeah,
they recognize. So
they reckon,
your peers recognize the amount of work, and they know how much work goes into making video
yeah,
games, and they could see, with PlayStation and Spider Man and their other other PlayStation games, that the amount of work that they put in to make these games look the way they do. We take it for granted, and
Yeah,
fanboys
developers
are
can
gonna
look at it and say,
hate.
"There ain't no fucking way we can do this."
Right, fanboys are gonna hate and be like, "Oh, it's overrated. Who cares?
yeah,
It's a minor upgrade." When it really isn't. Like, your peers know, other developers know how much it takes to get a game to
oh yeah.
look, move, run the way these games do. Freaking Spider-Man 2 had all these accessibility features. It had all these performance modes, right? You had the 60, the 30, the ray tracing, the 40 mode, the
60
unlocked
with
frame rate.
60 with ray tracing. I remember. I
Exactly. Like,
remember.
it's so much that that it takes. And most games don't even come with all that, right?
Remember when they said 60 with ray tracing is a lie? They're not gonna do that.
Yeah, all right, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just, like I said, their peers know how much work it takes to make these games and make them run like that, and achieve what Insomniac and PlayStation are able to achieve with their games. And they definitely, they're gonna give them their flowers for it, because they deserve it.
So yeah, about that, shout out to Insomniac. Absolutely shout out to Insomniac, but also shout out to PlayStation. Because they keep pushing the industry forward.
Yep.
And we have yet to see something on the level of God of War with one-shot camera. We have yet to see something with the level of uh, Ratchet with how they made use of the SSD, gameplay-wise. It makes you question.
I don't know. Spider-Man kind of did, because I don't think you could whip through a
They
city like
did
that
it.
without using it.
They actually apparently they topped it. Apparently, what they did with Spider-Man 2 is far better, far more
Yeah,
impressive.
because you had. I mean, it made you feel like you were fast in Spider-Man 1, but you really weren't going that fast, because they had to be able to load in the assets around you. In 2, you just fucking flew through the city,
Yeah,
whipping
but
like
with
goddamn
this one,
Superman.
Yeah, that swinging
especially
was so
when you
good.
get,
Whew.
especially when you get that not spoiler, that portal thing, like I'm genuinely surprised they didn't keep it.
Yeah, even beyond that, with like just the loading, like clicking any point
Oh
in
yeah,
New York and instantly going there, like, and the camera would pan and zoom into the city. You see the
Rem-
city around you. Shit was phenomenal. I was like, yo,
rem-
like, so fast.
yeah. Remember when they tried to downplay it with
Oh
doing
yeah.
the
Oh no, that
GTA
X is
5?
loading. It's loading. Yeah,
Holy
GTA
fuck!
5. I'm
They
like,
they cut the time and still couldn't reach the
mm-hmm.
speed,
And it was
mind you.
GTA on PC at that.
And
Like,
and it, so far I know, it didn't have ray tracing.
yeah, it didn't have any of that. Yeah.
And this one is doing all of that with ray tracing. So yeah, it turned out to be a a gush fest, but uh, the Dice Award is, shout out to the humor for always saying it. Real recognizes real, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Because these aren't people with like, agendas or,
Yeah, precisely. They
marketing
don't care
or
about console wars.
fanboys or yeah, exactly. So they're gonna give the game that they think deserves it the most from what they've seen and
Exactly.
from their knowledge, because they know, like I said, I keep reiterating that, but they know what it takes because they're developers, they're publishers. They know what it takes to make these games. So of course they're gonna know, like, if a game was able to accomplish something, like especially something as technically great as Spider-Man 2, they're gonna be like, yeah, we're definitely gonna give them the flowers. Like we know the blood, sweat, and tears it takes to get these games to do that. So shout out to them for being able to accomplish that.
So I have a question. Anyone have anything else to say about this topic before I move to the question? And I really want Innate to be here.
I am here.
Okay, finally, let's go. Going once, going twice, going thrice. Go ahead, Innate. Gush about Spidey Tooth Tail.
No, I mean, I mean, we talked about
But this
that.
is
We
not why
talked.
I wanted to be here. I actually
I
wanted
mean,
to be for the next topic. But go ahead.
I talked about that. I mean, just the other night. I mean, tweeting about it because people, um, are largely under the impression, a false impression at that PlayStation somehow needs other, you know, other platforms like PC specifically to sell their games, which is 100% an absolute fucking lie. Just to be absolutely clear, because like you guys mentioned, in the same time frame that Resident Evil 5 sold 5 million, which is fine, mind you, but released on all platforms and is a title with a essentially 30-year history, and just managed to sell 5 million. Horizon Forbidden West went on to sell 8.4 million, and at
I
considerably
thought
less
10.
time than that. I mean, they haven't
I
hit it
thought.
yet, but
Oh, okay.
um the in considerably less time than that, God of War Ragnarok hit 15 plus million, and
In how
now in under
in
4
years, right?
months, what?
Horizon. Ragnarok did that in a year, right?
Yes, that's why I said similar time frame.
Yeah.
And in less than 4 months, Spider-Man 2 hit 10 million plus.
And I want to emphasize on one thing. People are gonna try and say that Resident Evil is a niche franchise because it's horror.
There's nothing
Then
niche
go
about
ahead.
Resident Evil.
1 second. Go ahead and talk about Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter what people say. That's complete bullshit. Horror is a
Devil
niche.
May Cry
Horror
5.
is a niche area. Resident Evil is not niche and has never been. Like, that
Yeah,
shit has been
but
popular since PlayStation 1.
and Devil May Cry 5 is still not hitting the numbers that one game from PlayStation is doing on one platform. There are levels
Exactly.
for this. There are absolutely levels for this. Which actually I'm gonna translate. I'm gonna transition to it. Before I do so, let me celebrate one person that just said he made it. Wana. Welcome. You made it. So, Christopher Dring. He is ahead of game industry days. He stated the following: PlayStation 2, Xbox equal just under 180 install base. PlayStation 3 and 360 just over 170 million. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One around 180 million. Mid-gen upgrade kills things. Okay, fair point. The PlayStation Xbox market just hasn't grown in terms of audience. Revenue, absolutely. But there comes a point where you need new customers. So I'm gonna actually, and this is paper one of this one, push back on it. And I say, what of PC? Where have we seen that PC is selling so much games? Like I never. What do
They're
you?
not. It's
1 second,
mostly
Nelson.
all
Nelson,
microtransactions.
wait. Innate, you're a PC dude. I would assume you are. Do you know? Do you know what's the install base for PC?
The install base?
Yeah. The actual factual install base. Just
No,
give me Steam. To keep it simple. Give me Steam. Do you know?
nah, not offhand or whatever, because it's constantly fluctuating. Because Steam just the whole install base thing, it just consists of any computer that has Steam on it. Like, there's a lot
Yeah,
of
and I'm
computers that
playing,
have
and
Steam
I'm
on them that are not gaming PCs. So it's like that's what makes it so weird.
okay. So it makes it weird. Okay, so
Yeah,
let me ask you this: what game do you know that's not Call of Duty? We're not gonna name Call of Duty
yeah.
that have reached 50 or 60 million
Uh,
on Steam or on PC?
honestly, nothing outside of not any game that is usually purchased. So yeah, so nothing. The games that usually have those kind of numbers are free to play.
Wait,
So
did you? I thought you cut off.
nah, the games
Um,
that have those kind of numbers are usually like free to play. The only thing that actually pulls those kind of numbers are not games that are purchased, but games like League of Legends, which has a monthly user base of like 150 million
but
users.
isn't League of Legends free of charge?
That's what I said. It's free. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like it's
but
free, and the game can literally be played on like a Samsung refrigerator.
yeah, but no, what I'm talking about is he
Sales.
thinks, and this is Christopher Ding. I don't know if you've seen his tweet. He
I have
thinks
not.
or believe, I'm gonna share it with you right now,
Yeah.
that um, if you put your games, especially your console games, on PC, you're gonna get a new install base. And I wholeheartedly disagree with that statement.
I
I'm
mean,
just gonna share it
wait.
to
So
our
so
group.
so that's 100% bullshit already. Because this is the whole point I was arguing on Twitter yesterday, especially with motherfuckers. I'm assuming he's another motherfucker who doesn't know shit about PC buying or
I
trend
so
behavior.
he's actually big.
I mean, I don't give a fuck if he has
He
10
is
million fucking
the head.
subscribers. I don't give a fuck about
He
that.
no no no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about his position. He is the head of gamingindustry.biz.
Okay, and he still don't know what the fuck he talking about.
Well,
So
team.
yeah, like I don't like people's position is fucking irrelevant. That's the same shit where people are like, Microsoft couldn't make a mistake because they got 5,000 fucking really smart people working for them. Yeah, and where are they at now? Exactly. Where's the Zune now? Where's the Windows Phone now? Yeah, that fucking whole thing. I don't give a fuck about people's positions. There's plenty of people in positions where they don't know how to do their job and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. The reality is that there isn't going to be some surge of some impressive number of uh ridiculous uptick in PlayStation sales specifically, because this is who they're really talking about all the fucking time. PlayStation single player specific games are not going to garner some unprecedented number of sales because PC people do not fucking buy games like that when it comes to these specific games, right?
They
Like,
don't care, eh?
yeah, it's not saying that they won't sell at
No, they're
all.
playing Dota. Look at the top 25 games outside of Baldur's Gate and Hogwarts. They're all fucking free to play or online multiplayer games. Fucking all of them. Top 30 games, other than a handful.
Yeah, let
All
Ed
of them,
continue.
always. Sorry.
Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so it's not that any game doesn't sell, but even the ones that do are PC centric developers, like the darling developers that have a specific relationship with PC first, specifically CD Projekt Red and someone like Larian Studios. But even Larian has a multiplayer component in Baldur's Gate 3. The only game that you can specifically really talk about that really sold like that ends up number one also selling largely over time. So even with the success of The Witcher 3, right? Again, comes from CD Projekt Red, sold over a large period of time with massive discounts where they eventually sold a metric ton, but that ton was also assisted by PlayStation and Xbox alike. So PC is not selling all of these games, but those games, again, like I said, are from a specific standpoint, a PC first studio, which is famous for that, right? But the majority of sales from games that resemble what PlayStation is famous for. Resident Evil 4 remake is the perfect example. The game was praised, is probably one of the single most critically acclaimed games of last year, period. And yet it released on PC day one and just barely sold 5 million. And yet
And
that
let
is
me
a
guess,
third
the
person
rest was
game
on
like
PlayStation.
PlayStation. Yeah, I
So
mean
I
the
have a
rest of them was
question.
on PlayStation and Xbox, but that's what I'm saying. It took
Cyber,
everything to sell that way. But
cyber,
according to what he's saying and what Colin and all these people think they know about PC sales behavior, they believe that according to what they believe, if a game releases on PC, it should never be outsold by a console exclusive ever. And that is
thank you.
fucking bullshit because they constantly get outsold by console exclusives by both PlayStation and Nintendo alike. And just because Xbox is fucking trash and is in a fucking terrible position that they put themselves in, that has no bearing on what else is going on in the industry. And even to that tune, when people say that Xbox doesn't have an issue with releasing their games on PC, 70% of Starfield's sales were on PC, and that was 4 million sales. Bethesda
I
sold an all-time fucking low of games when they launched the title.
I I
Yeah,
bet you
exactly.
I bet you money. Microsoft, not Xbox, Microsoft regret day and date. But
Absolutely.
they can't pivot from it.
Yep, you can't take
They've
it
already
back.
lost half their
This
install
is why
base
I
because
think
they already went to
this
PC.
why
It's over. They're gone.
this is why I think they did what they did. We're gonna talk about it. But going back to it, my issue is with all of a sudden now people want PlayStation to be the now there is way more noise now. It's all of a sudden as if they want to kill console gaming.
I mean,
Why is
a lot of these people are out to do it for some reason. Like, I mean, they might say that they're not, but I don't think
and
I don't know in what world they believe where
but
consoles, depending if it was a world where what they believe was actually true, that they think that these companies, number one, would continue even making games. Like, so better you better believe if PlayStation ever loses the incentive that they have as a first party developer and a platform holder, that they will eventually just bow out and stop making games because
yeah,
PlayStation is the reason they make the games that they do. Period.
absolutely.
They would go bankrupt if they
They are
had all
not
their overhead.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
they are not backed like like Xbox with Microsoft. Like Sony is not a trillion, so far I know, dollar company.
I mean,
So
I mean, they're not. Their business is completely different, and yet, like again, like I said, all these other people keep. You have a couple things going on, right? But the main thing is you have Xbox fans who are hurt and in their feelings and want PlayStation to be in the same position that Xbox is in. Then you have PC people who essentially just want an excuse to never have to buy a PlayStation again so long as they live, because then that would put, essentially everything on one system. And make no mistake, with the popularity of streaming and people who want to have a professional streaming platform of any sort, whether it's Twitch, podcasting, whatever, gaming PCs are literally skyrocketing. So people who think that, there's no crossover or this and that, like I said, that's bullshit. The crossover for PlayStation is double digit millions.
mhm.
So I promise you, PlayStation 6, if they launched and said everything would be day and date, I guarantee you they would sell half the consoles if they were fucking lucky.
If
If they
they're
were
lucky,
lucky.
they would become the next Xbox.
Exactly.
Going back to it, N8, CD Project Red, your darling. Um, what did it sell on PC? Was the sales for Cyberpunk more or less than PlayStation? I need to know that one.
So it would be console overall because you're talking about an overall platform versus
No
the overall
way.
console.
You
So
no
what it
way. You,
is that the sales were originally 60% in favor of PC,
I mean that makes
but
sense.
that was because PlayStation not long after removed
Yeah,
Cyberpunk from the store, and then when the
Yeah.
game came back, the game had like a 600% like spike on PlayStation after they fixed it and it came back and Edge Runners launched. It spiked tremendously on PlayStation specifically.
Okay. And what's the result then? Do you know?
Said they haven't shared it since like that spike, but the game
Okay.
essentially, the last time they reported on it was when the game had sold like 18 million and it was like 60% PC.
Okay. I see.
But again, like I
Um.
said, that them specifically have always been, they what basically like Bethesda used to be a PC first developer. So because of that, like that they're treated like the darling on PC because they treat PC in a specific way and they treat them first. So a lot of them they know in order to maintain that relationship with them that they have to support them in this manner. And let's not get it twisted. Cyberpunk 2077 was a phenomenal game. Um, and so was The Witcher 3. Those are two of the greatest games released, right? Um, but again, like I said, most of them sell like that over time. So they're not, $70 sales, especially on PC. Even right now with, the new hotness, that is Helldivers 2, um, you know, on PC, you can get it for like $33. So again,
Mm,
people trying to uh, placate this fan base of PC fanboys and telling people, well, look, man, look at the success of this. It looks like them $100 PlayStation Day One games need to show up on PC, and it's like, no, that's not
where
even
is
remotely the same.
where is the God of War sales for PC? Do we know? Not Ragnarok. 2018. How much it sold? Uh, we're gonna see how much Forbidden West is gonna sell on PC. Do you know how much Spider-Man sold on PC? Like, them numbers don't lie. Remember when Astrobot did the worst on PC?
Yeah, I
Going
haven't
back
seen it
to
on there,
it,
but yeah,
shout out to Warawana. He said Phil wants Xbox gamers to hate exclusive. I mean, yeah, he always do. But sorry, I can't listen to the person with the word exclusive wanting to end exclusive. Lowest player base and worst game. Wow, it's almost as good exclusive matter, eh? Hey,
exactly.
Nelson, where did you get this one? We need more of this one. Shout out to you, Anna. You're cool. Um, what made me question is this is not a console war thing, eh?
I mean,
Cause
it's not.
you mentioned PC dude, you mentioned Xbox dude, but there's also PlayStation guy now, which so far I know is the first one is Colin, and now we're seeing with Just Move saying it.
Exactly. But again,
So
I stand to test that I know both of these people very well and I've seen both of these people for years. Neither one of them know a fucking thing about PC gaming. And Colin has been on record stating he don't know shit about PC gaming. So when that is specifically something that I specialize in and have gamed on since the 90s, and have been a massive part of that entire base for a very, very long time. Not only playing in it, but also building in it and being associated with industry trends and player purchasing behavior, which is why all that stuff is just something that I tend to know. So yeah, they just have no idea how this works. And if it were up to them, at this point, honestly, PlayStation would be in the ground in a couple of years.
yep. So anyone have anything else to say about this topic?
I mean, the only thing I got left to say is PlayStation is not responsible for Xbox fans and, all the issues that they got going on. They can go somewhere with all that and, sit in a corner with their.
I one
Emotional
question.
damage.
Okay, but one thing I gotta say, PlayStation is reactionary based on public opinion.
To a
So
point, not
I'm
to the degree that Xbox is.
I'm gonna watch and see if they're gonna pivot or stay where they are
And and
with this
and I
one.
promise you, you could put money on it. I promise you, if PlayStation reacts to that bullshit, that very minuscule audience, that vocal audience on, Twitter that thinks they know best, and they launch one of their single player titles on PC, watch what happens. It's going to be pirated to hell and back if it's not released with Denuvo, and it's not going to sell anywhere near what they think, and they'll be lucky if it sells about as much as it normally does when they release them later. Because again, they do sell when they release later, but these are the people who are going to buy these games in the like in the first place. And ultimately, what's going to happen is they are going to transition sales from PC users that bought PlayStation 5s to play these games, and they're just going to transition those purchases to PC, or they're just going to pirate them in the first place and not even purchase them, and or wait until they're cheaper and pirate them in the meantime. So either way, PlayStation is going to be giving up either less of a sale, because they're going to be taking a 70% cut initially, um, instead of 100% from getting the people to purchase it on PSN, or they're going to be getting a lesser cut from later, or not, or trading it for a sale not at all, because the person is just going to ultimately pirate the game. So that is why that is a massive mistake. And again, this is something that I'm speaking from vast amounts of experience and observational data and behavior, where people like to try and deny it. I mean, people still try to deny the whole thing with Ragnarok 2018 when it came out, or not Ragnarok, but God of War 2018. You can see the amount of downloads alone on the tracker on the Pirate Bay, that the day that God of War came out, it had over 3 million downloads and climbing rapidly. Like, and that's not to say, again, like, people like to say, well, that's not necessarily a lost sale or whatever, because people who pirate weren't necessarily going to buy it. That's not the point. The point is, over 3 million people pirated it, because PlayStation does not protect their games at all on PC release, especially their single player games, which is why the behavior of PC people purchasing a live service game like like Helldivers 2, where you can't pirate it and be on official servers, and it's literally unpiratable at this point.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and it's only $33, is no direct correlation to a $70 fucking PlayStation single player game that's piratable 20 minutes after it releases. These people do not know what the fuck they're talking about, and they will bury fucking PlayStation if it was up to these people. It's fucking ridiculous.
If Helldivers, as much as I love Helldivers 2, I'm gonna be frank with you. If Helldivers 2 was 70 and it was a single player game, it would not have gotten the traction that it's getting right now.
Absolutely not.
Anyone have anything else to say about this one besides Lana, who is coming
So are
only?
you still convinced that this is gonna quicken PlayStation's journey to PC day one?
I think he would go day and date if PlayStation go day and date on PC, he's gone. He said it multiple
No, I
times.
say you. I said you, in your opinion.
If can you repeat the question? Sorry about that.
I said, are you still under the impression that Helldivers 2 success is going to make PlayStation go day and date to PC quicker?
Real talk, yes.
Oh my
For
god.
one simple reason, because for
He's
one
listening to
simple
the
reason,
CEO.
which I stated. No. Let me explain my
See,
point.
I told him that was his opinion. He was like, "No, it's not. I'm gonna say something different when the show starts."
I forgot. No, I moved on past that after I couldn't get into the game. That's where my anger now at. The whole day and date, if it happened, it happened. I'm gonna be mad or not mad at it, but to see what happened to it. But with this one right now, I'm focusing on what's going on. But going back to your point, I truly look. PlayStation again have a habit of being reactionary, and if they cave, especially with the new leadership, we don't know what that person, if it's a male or a female, it's going to be vision wise. If
It-
if they go that route, hey,
Listen,
the writing is on the
mm,
wall.
I think a proponent that people are also forgetting in this is that, excuse me, it's not a matter of just snapping your fingers and be like, all right, you're making a game for PlayStation and PC now. That requires more developers,
Yeah.
more resources, more time. They'd have to hire so many more people to be able to do this
Yeah.
and take that on. And we know about the delays and multiple delays of Insomniac, Ragnarok, Horizon, and that was just with one platform.
Yeah.
Now we had to add PC on top of that.
Okay. But
And we have to make the game work for both.
But get this. Moves like this goes from the top, eh? AKA the investors. So
Investors are fine, but investors don't make
no,
games.
but listen. So what investor says happens.
Okay, so wait, let me explain
But
something about the
again,
mistake that
you
you're
still have
going
to
in.
hire these people,
Well-
and it's like, you have to like hire people who can do these things. It's not
I
again,
know, but
they
try
can't
to
tell them today like you are now making these games for both
But
platforms. It's just not
try-
going to work.
try to explain that to the investors.
I think you were thinking investors are really stupid, and they're not that stupid.
Yeah, I think you're mistaking
mean, wait, hold up.
you're mistaking
I mean-
investors from Xbox and the bullshit that they're going through and that decision coming down from the top for them as in the decision that investors at PlayStation would make. PlayStation is not in the same position. Investors make choices on money they are making, and they are making money at PlayStation. So they're not going to make a stupid decision to murder or to destroy that investment that they've already got in PlayStation, the brand. They would be stupid to do that. That's the
Hey,
difference.
That comment kept saying for them putting the games on PC,
No,
and they
but
survived
that's
that. And they
who?
actually survived that.
Who
So
survived
it makes
what?
you PlayStation. Like remember when Fit and this is why I
PlayStation
keep
games
saying
are still not being released on PC day
Listen,
one.
if they didn't care about the health of the brand, the first time they put a game on PC would have been, they would have done it the
It would've been
same
day and date
way
or off the
Xbox
rip.
did
But
it,
remember
which was
remember
initially day and date.
remember what Jim Ryan said. We didn't see any pushback.
I mean, that was a lie. Everybody
Yes,
knows that.
from yeah, they didn't see pushback from the 2-year gap. You didn't say anything about day and date. But that's what I'm saying. If they wanted to go day and date, they they would have done it the way Xbox did it. Like you said, they're reactionary and they copy or whatever. Xbox went out the first time they did it. It was with what was it? Fucking what's that game that everybody hates now? I can't remember.
I don't
but
remember the first game, but yeah, they went out day one.
yeah,
The moment they did it.
it was day one PC and Xbox full-fledged.
Quantum Break, I think.
Quantum Break, yes, Quantum Break. And if PlayStation was so confident in the PC market's ability to bring them money, and they were so confident in their ability to add millions of profit to to their business, that why didn't they release these games? Why wasn't the first game, I don't know, Miles Morales day to day on PC with PlayStation? It's because they're fully aware of the health of their brand. They still want to sell PlayStations. They still want people to come to their ecosystem to play their games. So yes, you'll get it later, but if you want it day one, and if you don't want to have to wait 2 years to play a damn game, then you're gonna have to invest in the PlayStation. And they said and they also said that method is working for them. That they're seeing profit doing it that way. So, I mean, I'm not saying that they'll never go day and date, but I think just for right now, I think they're fine with the strategy that they've laid out currently.
Exactly.
If anything, I could see it maybe next gen, later on in next gen or something, but I don't see them doing that anytime soon.
Yeah,
As
right now,
long as
the market
Xbox is in
doesn't
the
work.
space, I don't see him doing that.
Yeah. They just don't, and they just, like I said, they don't have the people to do it anyway. You'd end up wasting more money delaying a game because it'd take even longer for these games to come out, because now you have to develop for both of these platforms, and they don't have the people to do that. Xbox, they got, Activision, they have Bethesda, they have all these studios now that are used to making multi-platform games. And, PlayStation's in a different position. Most of PlayStation studios have only been making PlayStation games for years. So
That's why they have Nixes.
Yeah, that's why they had
keep it
to
a low
Not only
purchase
thing
that,
because
Nixes.
that's all the
why-
fuck they do. That's all they do.
Mhm.
That's why
They're
their
experts in
developers
it.
are alienated because of the multiplayer diversion now, which is what you heard.
No, no, but
Yeah,
like
and
like you said, you've heard. Go ahead, Morgan.
Oh, I'm sorry. But like, I know people said use Nixes. Well, they got Nixes. I'm like, Nixes cannot make a PC port for every single game
No,
that
they can't.
PlayStation. No, I'm saying day and date. They can't do that. They don't have the manpower to
No, they
be
don't.
on
No,
board.
they don't.
Yeah, they
Which-
don't have the manpower to be on board with every team to
Question:
make a
how
game.
does Xbox do it? Do we not know?
They have more people. They have more developers. That's
Okay,
how they
wait.
do it.
They have more developers, but okay, so you're asking how they do it. They do it no different than a multi-platform developer, but PlayStation is not built that way. Their entire pipeline is not built that way. Their
It's built
engines
to-
are built from the ground
So their
up.
ends are built
take
around.
for
They're built
the
around the
PlayStation.
One
Yeah.
person, Nelson.
Yeah, it's built from the
Continue, mate.
ground up for the PlayStation to take advantage of the API and the underlying infrastructure of the PlayStation and how it's built. This is why it takes the time that it does for them to transition over to PC, which again, armchair developers who don't know shit on Twitter are constantly telling people it's a button press. It's so easy. They could port it if they wanted to. No, dude, like that shit takes a long time. Like it's not even games that are on multi-platform things, they or multi-platform engines still take time to port properly to PC, especially with all the other implementations of optimizations and extra features that PC people want, like ultra wide, DLSS, and all the other things that they have to program and get correct before they release these games. And make no mistake, some of the ports for PlayStation are some of the best PC releases they've seen in years in terms of feature support and resolution support by far. So no,
Ultra wide.
yeah, it's a
That's
huge thing.
Priscilla's favorite.
Yeah, that's her
Ultra
favorite.
wide.
Yeah, it's just, but like I said, people underestimate what it takes to get this stuff done. And developers, again, this is what I said, this is the difference between some gamers and people like us that pay attention to industry stuff. There have been multiple developers on hand who have worked on multi-platform projects across the world and then come to work at PlayStation and talk about the way they love working for PlayStation because they see the result of working on a single platform in the way that PlayStation has structured their pipeline and their engines. And they talk about how they've gotten more time in the creative process to actually create the best game they feel they possibly could have, and not spending a bunch of time debugging and extra programming and fucking optimization like all these multi-platform devs end up having to do. And it is on a completely different scale and ability to support that individual game as opposed to a multi-platform game. And like I said, this is coming from industry veterans who have dozens of years in the industry and then have now gotten to experience what it is like working at PlayStation, or vice versa, started at PlayStation and worked on multi-platform projects and talked about the difficulties that get faced in those in comparison to the way PlayStation takes advantage or every advantage when developing for a single platform in mind. It's just different. And that they would just ruin that, potentially trying to develop day and date internally for the studios they have that are already on that wavelength, and they would be a fool to ruin that, because nobody else, and we all know this playing these games, no one else touches the quality that a PlayStation Studios game has. Like, we've seen it, the animation quality, the graphical fidelity. It just people do well, but not close.
Nintendo, but that's about it.
But even Nintendo doesn't. Nintendo does gameplay and a bunch of other stuff, but they don't develop games at the height of visual fidelity that PlayStation does. So their animation quality and stuff like that isn't always needed. Like, they develop the game specifically that they do develop at the highest tier, but they don't develop games in the way that PlayStation does. Like, you've seen it. Like, look at we just seen Indiana Jones from Machine Games, right? Like
Ooh,
we
ooh,
just
don't
seen
remind me.
the graphical fidelity. Like when he showed that whip up close in your face and stuff like that, that shit wouldn't have made it out of fucking R&D at PlayStation. Like and don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, like I love what Machine Games does with, you know, their other series, Wolfenstein, but this just ain't it. And then before that even came out, they were like, "Oh, you know, they can go third person, they could do this and that." Again, people belittling what Guerrilla Games did going from Killzone to Horizon because they did it so well and it was a phenomenal
It's
transition.
easy.
Yeah, it's
It's
easy. It's
easy.
nothing. You know, people try to belittle it because it was a PlayStation studio and they underestimate the talent that these people put on display and, you know, had people oohing and ahhing at the first reveal for Horizon Zero Dawn because that shit looked fucking amazing. And the fluidity and everything people saw on screen was absolutely amazing. And it is not easy to transition like that, which is why Machine Games stayed in first person in the first place. Like, people keep underestimating the pedigree and the ability and talent at PlayStation first party studios and the way that they not only have their, you know, train their internal devs and the way that they compete with each other, but when they bring people in that used to work at other studios, every single one of these people, when they leave, you can see the tweets, you can look them up. When they leave PlayStation, they talk about how much they've grown as a developer and how much they've learned. I see that shit all the time, every single time. Like people
Yo,
leaving God of War and like, yo, I've never grown so much in my whole career. People with 20 years in game development. That is the
mhm.
difference in the pedigree that happens. I'm sorry, but PlayStation first party studios are just the Formula One racing teams. They are the FIFA, you know, the World Motherfucking Cup of game development, and I don't really give a fuck who feels any other way about it because that's just the facts. When that PlayStation Studios logo pops up, you know you
You
about to
know
play
you're
some
in
fire.
for an amazing moment, don't you?
Exactly. And like, don't get me wrong, there are some multi-platform devs that in their own right are amazing, but that shit also, guess what? Like Morgan was saying, we've talked about it. It takes forever. What
Yeah, like
everybody is super
Rockstar.
anticipating. Exactly. That is exactly who I was about to say. Rockstar does phenomenal work, but guess what? It
Or
takes
The Witcher,
forever. Yeah.
or The
They got
Witcher.
like they got thousands of people too on
Yeah,
their
and
shit too.
they
So it's
have,
like
yeah, and their teams are three times the
10
size.
studios.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're more than
Exactly.
that. They're like 10
By the way,
times.
Yeah.
shout out to Down Hero, Hero Down Under. He actually went below the belt. He said the hacked Wolverine pre-alpha gameplay is of a higher quality than the Indiana Jones gameplay.
You
Ow,
ain't lying.
uh,
ouch. Now I see the gameplay. It was not bad. Like it needs assets and stuff like that, but it's not bad. Um,
but like
going back.
there's very much a difference when you play a triple A average game and then you play a PlayStation Studios AAA level game.
Yeah,
Like like
we act.
Okay, Pony.
I mean, look, hey,
Oh,
look, I don't want to hear it,
lady,
man. Miss
lady,
Ghost of
lady,
Tsushima
lady.
like 5 times. We know you was over there
If you're
leaning
a
over
bu-
on your
I
horse,
know a
touching
dude
the
shot
if
about
you're
it.
a
grass.
Yeah,
buff, if
Uh-huh.
my
you're a
my
buff,
Xbox
we're
ambassador
gonna
badge
see
is
you
shining right now.
defend this Xbox move so
Hmm.
soon. Okay?
Okay,
Don't worry. They announced Ghost of Tsushima 2 tomorrow. She about to
She
I know what
fold.
you're talking about.
yeah, she's gonna buy the Super Deluxe Giga Edition
Hmm.
times
Oh,
10.
absolutely.
Yep. Give me the PS5 Pro. Give me the collector's edition console with it. Like she buying everything.
Hmm.
She said, "Oh, this credit card about to get used for a reason."
Going back to it, anyone have anything else beside N8 on this whole topic? I actually want to hear from one person that actually been with a date with Ishivan. Mr. Weeb, where have you been?
Yeah,
Huh?
engaged,
Weeb's
of course.
response.
Huh? What's your thought on the topic?
What did they say?
Oh, this dude.
I mean,
I love
Basically,
well,
Weeb.
Weeb knows I'm on point. Weeb knows what's up.
yeah.
I mean,
Basic,
I can. The only thing I will say is it's going to be what the Nate said, but then just trying to make it sound interesting.
Basically, we're
I mean,
talking
yeah.
about.
I mean, there is no other fucking opinion about it. I mean, the the problem is that you know if you're going to release a day and date, your single player games, you know you're going to cannibalize your own sales. I mean, we've
Exactly.
seen it happen. Like it's fucking ridiculous. I think the problem is that they're thinking that if you release a day and date, that somehow multiplies sales. That people do not touch a game or will not buy it as much if you release it later. And I think they're thinking about something like Tomb Raider, right? That the reboot one
Hmm.
that had like an exclusivity deal with Xbox for 1 year, and they regretted it uh,
Yep.
uh, later because once it came to PlayStation, like nobody fucking cared because, but
Absolutely not.
yeah, but that's apples and oranges because like Xbox even then was the less popular platform, like was the
Mhm.
platform where you said games die basically. But I mean, the reality is like if you're keeping it from the platform where it would have sold the most, and then exclusive for 1 year for platform that's failing, that essentially is now the platform that has trained its audience to not buy games. Yeah, no surprise that your sales will be disappointing. Had you done the opposite, I'd say that obviously their sales would have been much better, but I'd say that would not have hurt it as much because we know that there's one platform where now they'll buy games, but even then it's the smaller install base, so obviously your sales will be less there, and that's sort of the thing is with PC like they're thinking like this is sort of this infinite market, even though it's not because the bigger the market, like that's the same thing with the fact that we're very happy with the sales of these first party titles, which is phenomenal. But they're always going back to the argument, yeah, but like PlayStation has like or PS4 like 100 million consoles, and like only 10% bought the game. Like, yeah, but you don't get it because that doesn't mean the game is not successful. It just means that there's only a small percentage of gamers that uh, will buy a particular game because I've known plenty of people who just bought their PlayStation just to play FIFA or Formula One games or whatever, right? That's a particular audience. They will never buy any of these great games that we are enjoying. Doesn't mean it's not successful. It's completely
Yeah,
ridiculous to assume that
I
everybody on your platform will buy the game.
I asked Weeb about Weeb. I asked Nate about that. If he knows a game that sold around 60 to 70 million on PC, and he couldn't name one, unless it's Call of Duty or free-to-play games.
Bro,
Yeah,
the
but
dude tried to tell
and
me
that's
that the buying power, the a percentage of the buying power of that PlayStation would be privy to on PC was 1 billion gamers.
Who
yeah.
said that?
Bro, bro, I'll show you the
Assuming
tweet
that a
later.
billion PCs could even handle their games,
Nate,
but okay.
Exactly.
Nate,
A
why are you
billion.
trying to?
Bill
Why
That's
are
Housefather.
you
another thing
trying to
we haven't
destroy our
talked
brain
about.
cells?
No.
Nate, stop,
If you
stop,
want to play a
inter-
place,
stop interacting with brain dead people. Like, nah.
But that's the entire point also what I make is like you're assuming that all player bases are the same. Like just as Nate explained, there are particular games that are very popular on PC, but it's not necessarily the case that the same games will be very popular or the same type of games will be popular on consoles, and that's kind of the problem. Just as much as their Nintendo fans have their have their own preference regarding Nintendo
Mm-hmm.
games. Sure, there are similar genres, but they're also different, like JRPGs. But you also have different like platform games. That's definitely Nintendo's forte, right? It's not. We don't have that many great, like you don't really find them anywhere else, right? And you have platform games, but not of the same level of quality. And the same extent, when at the time when people still bought games on Xbox, you had like it's no surprise that games like Halo and Gears got big there because that's also a particular audience it caters for, right? And that's kind of the thing is that you have to consider the fact that even though they're all devices, or platforms that you can play games and can play the same games on, doesn't mean the same genres and the same types of games will be equally popular. And that's kind of the problem. And the problem indeed that people like Jim, whatever his first name is, Moriarty, that doesn't understand is indeed that if you're putting your games day and day, then you're giving PlayStation gamers the option to get a PC, or if you already have a PC, buy it on PC, because then unless you really want to double
You're not
dip,
gonna buy a
which
PlayStation at all anymore.
yeah,
Exactly.
you remove the necessity of it, because in the end, as they keep saying, like consoles are getting more and more like PCs, right? Yeah, that also means that they will have less and less, selling power in terms of features. Like in the end, like features don't really matter that much. But sure, there will always be a subset of let's say a large portion of gamers that have a preference for console because they think it's more convenient than PC. Which I know, Nate, it's not that big of a deal to a game PC. Like it's a lot more plug and play than people think it is. But still,
Yeah.
there's that perception. But in the end, like if you have the same offering, like if you can have access to the same games at the same time, same quality, whatever, right? And obviously you can get better quality in terms of better frame rate, better resolution on PC because of
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you can get a PC with better specs than any console that you can buy. Yeah, then you're removing the one reason that you have for buying a console, because you know as much as people were crying about the fact that they're dropping their games on PC at all,
Mm-hmm.
like it's still a big difference if your game is dropping there day and date, and if
Yeah.
there's at least a year in between. Because I'm not going to wait a year to play a game like
Never mind
the
2
next
years.
God of War. Sure.
I said never mind 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's absolutely. Like, try dodging those spoilers for 2 years on Twitter, or and even then, like the thing is, like with gaming, it's not a. I mean, you sort of it always loops back to Game Pass. It's kind of the thing is, like it doesn't matter that you have access to all these games. Like I don't want this service to determine when I have to play a particular game. I want to play the game I want to play right now. And if I have to buy that game, I will buy that game. And if I have to play this on a console, even knowing that maybe in a year or two it will be available on PC and I can play it in better quality and etc. Like I'm not gonna wait for that, because right now I feel like I need to play. Like it's nothing to do with you don't know what's gonna happen in 2 years or whatever, but it's just like you have to you have that need, right? You have want to scratch that itch, because right now
Mm-hmm.
you're really hot for this game. Like everybody's talking about it. You can see they're full marketing it. You know it's there,
Yeah.
and then you're telling yourself, yeah, but if I wait a year or two, I really want to play it now. I'm dying to play it now, but I'm just gonna wait because yeah, it's gonna drop on PC in a year or two. Like that's not how we work. That's not how people work, and that's fine. But if you're removing that barrier, if you just say day and date, like it's going to cannibalize still. And people, like I said, you know, next PlayStation, like you're gonna get a fraction of the sales you've had till now. Like if you're gonna do that, you better well be committed that you're essentially just going to go away with the console and just become an app on the
Exactly.
PC, and
Exactly.
become a third party publisher.
Yep. Yeah. I mean that's ultimately what they'd be committing to doing that. So.
Mm-hmm. And
Well
with
said.
that being said, Nelson, you have anything else to say? Because I've heard from
Nope.
everyone but you.
Especially, yeah. What we pretty much said what I was gonna say. So different players for different types of games on different
Mm.
platforms.
So I have a very quick question. Morgan, you wanted to add anything?
No, you're good.
Okay. So I have an interesting question to follow up what we were talking about, which different audience, different game, and stuff like that. And I'm genuinely being genuine. Like this is, I can't stress it enough. This is no console war. This is not anything. What the actual fuck is Xbox audience then?
Game
The
Pass.
non-gamers.
No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. Put Game Pass aside. Put
But
day
you
and
but
date
you
aside.
can't. That's what they're
What?
trained on for 7 years now.
No, no. I'm being genuine though. Even before
I'm too.
even before Game Pass, games didn't sell well on Xbox.
They
So
played
my
Halo. They played
question,
Halo, Gears, and Forza. Like that wasn't a joke.
so so was it the shooter box or so
Yes, because of Halo and
You're thinking
Gears.
of 360. It's been a dead platform for a long time.
Yeah.
so then how do you get audience then? Is it games? If you like, for
Okay,
example,
you're okay. You're
Making good
missing
games helps.
I'm trying to.
making good games helps, but you're missing the fact that they are essentially trained at this point. So Game Pass, the reason why I mentioned Game Pass's only effect isn't just the fact that they don't buy games. A lot of them have gotten to the point where because it's a lot of them have gone through that mode where they they've got Game Pass for 3 years and they paid like a super discounted
A
rate.
dollar. A
Yeah,
dollar. Keep it
yeah.
what it is.
Well, no, I mean they paid more than that because they added on top of it, but they used the dollar conversion in order to
Mm-hmm.
convert. So what would have essentially been like $600, they paid $150 and got 3 years of Game Pass.
Okay.
So Game Pass is this irrelevant thing essentially that's just always on for them at this point until that runs out, right? So they just kind of if you play something or you don't finish it or whatever, you kind of have this lackadaisical kind of attitude about it where it's like, oh
I
well,
didn't buy it,
I didn't buy
so.
it, so who cares? And Game Pass is still there and it'll be there when I
Mm-hmm.
get to it, and who cares, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they are training. It's not just Game Pass as far as not buying stuff. It's how it's changing their playing behavior on top of that. And then obviously a large amount of them, as you can see, already weren't really playing games, or they're at least not playing. Some of them are not really playing games, but then some of them are not playing the games that they claim. So it's like, on one end, your fan base is going crazy about Hi-Fi Rush and how it got snubbed at the awards and all this other stuff, only to find out that the people talking all this shit didn't even play the game or played it for 10
Didn't
minutes.
touch it.
Yeah, because ultimately, again, like I said, they don't have any investment in it. They don't. They ultimately download it really quick or preload it and take a picture and be like, "Yeah, shout out to Xbox, we winning," and then they never get on it or mess with it again. As opposed
Or
to us.
uh, played a single level and didn't even finish it. Let
Yeah,
that sink in.
yeah, played a single level. Like Tim Dog was talking all that shit specifically. I use this example because this is someone who they follow to the tune of 70,000 followers, and had 10 minutes in Hi-Fi Rush, essentially not even enough time to really finish the tutorial. And like, this is the person talking about Hi-Fi Rush got snubbed for Game of the Year. Like,
And worshipped it.
yeah, and worship
And
it. How could you
apparently
guys not
now,
play this? And talking
and
all this other shit.
apparently now he's in the light, I guess.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna know that.
And these are, again, these people have a total of what,
No,
400 hours in gaming. Like,
but
how much gaming are you really going to get done? Like, most of us, at least per year, have one game where we spent 80 to 100 hours in.
unless you're almost,
Priscilla already got
then you're
like
yeah.
like probably 50 hours in Power World or something, and she only been playing it for like 3 weekends.
She's gonna keep continuing until she run out of content. Then she's gonna take a break.
She hit max
Um.
level, so she getting there. Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yep.
But my question, and sadly you went on a whole tirade with. I understand,
Hmm.
but I'm trying to understand Xbox. If let's say I'm gonna be generous, like maximum generous. If Xbox had something on the level of God of War, of Uncharted, of Horizon, would Xbox now be in the place of PlayStation
No.
or no?
Well, I'll explain why. Because their games release day and date on PC, so the game would just do
No, I
really well on
am,
PC.
but I'm telling you, remove day and date. I wanna go fresh from 360. Before day and date, before Game Pass.
Okay.
Would because I know even during 360, their gamers wouldn't buy games like that.
Yeah.
So my question is, if they stuck to their root and did what PlayStation did during the PlayStation 3 era and built new IPs, would they have been able to gain a massive following, or they were doomed
Mm,
to fail from the get-go? That's what I'm trying to
the
understand.
problem with Xbox though is the lack of studios. So even if they did make these great games, they'd be few and
But
far in between. So
but
probably not. No.
I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt in everything. Like give them
Okay.
more
Well,
studios.
if you're trying to put them on the level of PlayStation, then they're
Yeah,
going to be on the level of PlayStation.
I'm
Yeah.
genuinely doing so I understand if people
I
would
mean,
have went
but if
to
you're
them.
giving them an equal footing, then yes, they're going
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
because
I am
you're giving them
absolutely doing
every.
so. To
Yes.
trying to
They
understand if
if they could have competed on the level back then in actual first party with at the quality level and the quantity level, then yes, they would have been just as big.
okay,
And Phil is
thank you.
100% wrong, and that's why I said him saying that if they made an 11 out of 10, it wouldn't matter. Of course, it wouldn't fucking matter, because currently all your shit releases on PC, and it would sell decently. But
Anything game?
one, well, no, but one game is not the answer. Like I told you, I stay on PlayStation's neck because I love what they do. But if they get caught slipping, I'm on them. Because if you
As you
don't stay on these
should.
companies, they will give you some bullshit and release some trash. And if the community lets them know that shit is okay, you gonna keep getting trash. And that is the
As you should.
reality of what happened to Xbox. Is over time, while they were releasing trash after trash after trash, or at least average, you know what I'm saying, a lot of average content, a lot of people were making that average content out to be like it was amazing. Like the amount of people that will tell you
Still are.
like Quantum Break is so good. It's so amazing. These niggas don't know what they talking about. Quantum Break's so
Yes,
banging.
the
Bro, I beat
sale.
Quantum Break. Quantum Break is fucking basic as fuck. The animations weren't even fucking finished on the reloading for the guns and shit. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with his hands? Like
And
all the
this
stuff
what
that you get quality on PlayStation, you notice how bad it is when you play other games that are unfinished and trash, and the animation quality doesn't measure up, which is again why I mention that a lot. People belittle the quality level of animations and the importance of them, but you notice that stuff as a gamer, as you've played a lot of games the way that we have. Like when something stands out and like his hands don't place correctly on the gun and all this other weird stuff starts happening, you notice that stuff. And that's been the problem. It's just the quality has not been there. And in the meantime, while all these other games weren't really doing much and the quality wasn't really there, they were like, nah, just give us another Gears, just give us another Halo. Right now they're talking about getting another Gears. And I'm like, my first question and their question should be, what exactly do you want from another Gears that you haven't already got? Where is that franchise gonna go? Because again, this is the question I ask myself when it comes to PlayStation. Me and Morgan again had this conversation when we were both like, um, all right, God of War's kind of run its course. I don't really want that game anymore. I told you guys this story before.
did we not say that? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want this game anymore. This franchise I feel like has run its course, and this is why I said people belittle the talent and what it takes to do some of the things that PlayStation does, because that reboot to God of War took me from I don't want to see this franchise in my face ever again, or at least not for another 10 years until they figure out what the hell they're going to do with it. And then when I seen God of War 2018, I was day one. I got the collector's edition Matter of fact, that is how you impress me.
Ragnarok, day one.
Day one.
And you get the plot, and you don't even care that much about the plot.
But that's what I'm
especially
saying.
with horror games.
Yeah. Like that's what
see
you
what
need
you
to.
tell
That's
me.
what
Yeah,
Xbox
it seems
needs
like
to do.
PlayStation knows too, because like I love Uncharted too, and Uncharted's another one like, okay, I've had enough, you know what I mean? And then now they're making something new, you know what I mean? It's
Exactly.
kind of like they know when they've hit like, okay, we either need to put this to bed for a while or get rid of it in general. One of the two.
So,
Exactly.
are you guys open to an Uncharted 5 or Uncharted reboot?
I mean,
Not with Nathan.
It'd be great, but the longer I wait,
Yeah.
the more excited I'll be. If you would have told me 3 years ago we were getting one, I would have been like, I don't really care.
Yeah, we need
Now
we
I
need
kind of
like
care,
a new
and if you tell
story.
me in 3 years, I'll really
Oh,
care.
yeah, I
Does
don't
that make
want Nathan.
sense?
Yeah, I'm with Morgan on that one. Like we need a completely new story. Like it needs to be a full reboot into like some new characters, a new adventure. Like
Oh, you don't want Nathan Drake? Okay.
yeah, I mean he's
No, I
the
don't want Nathan.
he's the homie, but we finished his story. He had his
Oh,
daughter.
Yeah,
okay.
4 games. I'm
Yeah,
good.
he had his
So you
daughter and
want-
everything. It's all good.
Oh, okay. So you want a full-blown reboot? I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Um, Priscilla, if it ain't Nathan Drake, I don't want it.
She
Hey,
says that, but if the game was good and it was doing the same thing Nathan
You
Drake was
love-
doing, she'd be all up on it.
She likes those kind of games. So yeah, Morgan is right. She would be all over it.
Lost Legacy was fun.
Oh, and she loved that because she loves Chloe. By the way.
All that mess.
What's that? Is that the dagger, or are you happy to see me? I know. I see that. I love Uncharted. Okay, going back to it. Let's move on to the next topic, and that's going to be a quick one. So, congratulations to PlayStation, Sony, and Tencent. I'm gonna give them the flowers. So apparently they teamed up and they were able to snatch the Elden Ring IP from Bandai and gave it to FromSoft. So we saw a picture of Shuya Yoshida with some other people, and one person I do recognize in the video in the picture is none other than Miyazaki, the original creator for Bloodborne, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Sekiro, you name it, he created it. I think he's the creator. I'm not sure. What is so interesting about this? Because I'm gonna call him out, and I think this is a nothing burger. It's not gonna go anywhere. I think this could open up the door to become almost like a Square Enix scenario, where they get to have a work agreement between the two and build the connection that they now have. Which, remember, if you know Shuya Yoshida, sorry, thank you. They co-own FromSoft. Who are you talking about? You're talking about
They both have invested interest, but
yeah, I'm aware.
they both have
I'm aware
invested
about-
interest, but
There's
FromSoft
no
is
fucking chance.
yeah, FromSoft is still under Katakawa, and
Yeah,
it's
they're
still
under
it's still their
Kadokawa.
they're still their own company. Yeah,
Yeah, Sony have shares in
yeah,
it.
they're an invested partner.
Yeah, they're an invested partner. They don't co-own it, so far I know. They don't have enough shares to be to be a co-owners. I think they have what 14%. But going back to it, one of Shuya Yoshida's biggest regret is not buying FromSoft. So is this his way of rectifying it? And if so, could we see the next game? Not this one, because apparently they're working on a next game that's absolutely going to be multiplat. But the big game after it, is that going to be a game exclusive?
I think it's less about rectifying it and more about making sure that nobody else will be able to take those games away from PlayStation gamers. I don't think it's about securing it exclusively for PlayStation, just making sure that PlayStation is involved when it comes to their next game.
Agreed.
I don't think it's about exclusivity at all. It's just Let's make sure these big three with Tencent, Embracer, and Microsoft aren't going to come in and take these games away from PlayStation. I think that's really what it's about.
Yep, lock it down.
So, very quick question: do you know how much percentage you gotta own in shares to be able to own a company? Is 14% enough?
No.
No. Yeah, they're not an owner. They've never been listed as an
They're not
owner.
co-owners. They're investors.
Yeah, they have what's
I'm
called a
fully
They
vested
get a
aware of
like
seat at the
that.
table. That's
yeah, they
it.
get a seat at
They
the
get a seat at the
table.
table.
They have what's called a vested interest in the company. Like if there's a
Yeah.
meeting that has to be happen with investors, they will be there, but they're not considered an owner.
No, Hero Down Under, he's saying that SIE is a co-owner. I'm like,
I
no,
mean,
they're
they
No.
investors.
yeah, they would be listed underneath it as that if you looked up the company, but they're not.
But they're not fully yet. They might become, because that seems what they want to be.
They're not.
Yeah, they would be like listed as like a subsidiary or something if
If
they were,
they're
but they're
Yeah.
far
not.
too big and Tencent art still has ties into it, they're not going to own FromSoft.
No, they didn't give it. They were able. So, FromSoft was able to get the IP because of the backing from PlayStation and Tencent.
Yeah, that's what was
Like,
reported.
like it's literally reported. You want me to take an L? I take an L. I don't mind. But moving on from it, no, from that, I would love, and people gonna laugh at me. Bloodborne 2, like this is another thing that PlayStation did well with with Bloodborne Omar. Bloodborne Omar. What the fuck did I just say? With Bloodborne, they took the gameplay mechanic for Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and they changed it a bit. I made it different. Now, instead of being very defensive in Demon Souls and Dark Souls, you're now way more offensive in Bloodborne. If you did so, you gained your health back. Which again, Bloodborne, another game I love. Which with the success of Elden Ring, I question if they ever gonna make a Bloodborne 2. But enough about that.
Yeah, I don't
Very quick.
particularly care for Souls games, but I did like the switch
Yeah,
up. I did
but
like the switch
if
up in the combat for Bloodborne.
okay, if they would make a game that's not Soulsborne, would you try it?
I mean, I already have because it was called Armored Core 6.
Yeah, I use that Armored Core, but I'm talking about a new IP.
Yeah, if it's not a Souls like, yeah.
Okay. Um. With that being said, have anyone else anything else to say about this topic? No? Then let's jump to the next topic, which we're gonna go to Mr. Phil Spencer, and not for the reasons that you guys think. I'm actually pulling one under you, guys. So, Phil Spencer, Mr. I just bought two publishers, is sad because the new darling, Del Helldivers 2, is not on its platform. So Mr. Phil Spencer actually on record said, "What does Helldivers 2 not being on Xbox uh, do to the game? It's like make it happen at IE. Even though I don't know that you own the the IP, make it happen. Yo, this dude genuinely don't want exclusive no more. But at the same time he does, cause Starfield is still on Xbox. For now, I'm gonna ask for now for now, but hey, Phil is an absolute hypocrite. We're gonna talk about it when we come to the final topic. But um, yeah, I'm poking fun at Phil Spencer with Helldivers 2, but let's jump to it. Helldivers 2, Studio Arrowhead, They just celebrated 15-year anniversary. Congratulations. I'm not being sarcastic. Genuinely congratulations to them.
15 years is
For
no easy feat. The way
I
studios are
never,
closing.
I'm not gonna lie, I never heard of them before Helldivers 2, and I'm loving what they're bringing to the table. You know what remind me of Helldivers 2? With Returnal. What I mean by that is they had a concept and they executed it, and it's working. And so far from what I've seen, it's the next big thing. But here comes the but. It's terrible when it comes to matchmaking when to the service. It's atrocious when it comes to the service. I'm going so far to say I don't know if it's one of the worst, but it's downright insufferable.
I mean,
Like
it's unplayable sometimes. So yeah, I mean, it's
I've seen people wait for an hour. I've read people be waiting an hour just to join in. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do that. I tried 10 minutes. I genuinely, I'm being serious. Like, I wanted to play that much with these people. I say this, I'm talking about Morgan and Nate and Priscilla. We tag teaming and playing the game. And I just couldn't jump in. And I told them, hey, I'm not gonna make it. The game wouldn't let me. And it's frustrating to see that people wanna just play the game and they're capping it at 650. So I'm gonna ask Innate, because I don't know anything about it. Is it so difficult to have oh, shout out to you, T-Fred. You have more patience than me. More than 30 minutes. Yeah, I'm sorry, no way. Is it so difficult to cap to so no? I'm gonna try to ask. How
to
can
adjust
you?
the server capacity.
Well, yeah. How can you fix it? How can you fix it? Why is it happening?
I mean,
Explain it.
so essentially, there was someone who went into it further, of course, who with Prince, but essentially, like he stated, it all depends on how you implement the servers and how entangled they are into your infrastructure, versus also whether or not you have like an in-house server or a cloud-based server like most people have now. I know it was alluded to the fact that they were supposedly using Azure servers. So the way that they're essentially linking the servers into their system, apparently just the way they've entangled this whole solution is causing them a lot more headache to add server capacity than they've anticipated, in comparison to the amount of people that are playing, at least particularly on the weekends. Um, the cap wise, I don't know why they seem hell bent on just not increasing it, in order to sustain what is obviously a continually growing game that more people seem to be jumping in on. Like the 650,000 cap is not working. Like you're constantly growing. I mean, you can see specifically because Steam always shows it. The concurrent number is always growing on Steam, and prior to Steam, where Steam only had about 254,000, when they reported the 650,000 cap, the rest were
They upped
PlayStation
it
users.
first to 360. It it went full in 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
This is what
they
I
clearly
said.
need a
This is
ton more. So I don't know what it is at the infrastructure level they need to change, or they need to
so.
open up and get situated. But they definitely the key for them right now is whatever the issue is with the flexibility of increasing server size, they need to get done. I know what somebody was saying that obviously the problem could be at the login level, like the server gets slammed essentially. So like at 6 p.m. on Friday, you know, 30,000 people try to log in or something.
Because
Yeah.
there is XP weekend, you get 50% more XP. And trust me, it matters.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a
I
huge
tried it.
difference.
It's a huge, huge difference. You can absolutely level up and break the level cap and get to the level cap with an hour or three if you play well and you're on doing mission and on harder mission and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My issue with it is it fixable if you just throw money at it, or not? That's not it.
I mean, that doesn't seem to be the case because I mean, clearly
Oh,
they've gotten money. So from a significant amount of sales, PlayStation is right there backing them up. Like I said, I think it's just the way that they happen to uh, build their infrastructure around the Azure servers, and they're just having difficulty adding them or creating some sort of flexibility with the servers uh, with their game. Working with cloud, like I work with cloud when I do my daily work for IT, and it's great on one end and it's a headache on another because the software or the hardware rather is not on your at your location. You're doing everything remote and everything doesn't always work the way that you want it to when you're issuing certain commands or trying to expand things. Depending on the client and their server packages. So whether you're a premium member, standard, all this other stuff, which they definitely have levels to that for an Azure server hosting. So that could also be playing a role. Um, do I think that Microsoft is playing funny with that? I mean, potentially because them using obviously Microsoft servers and Microsoft doesn't have this very popular current game on their platform. No, because ultimately, like that's just not how business works. But I mean, somebody could be being petty, but I think it's just again, I think it's really just the way they built the infrastructure, and it just wasn't built to be flexible enough for them to add the servers at the level that they're having to go to, and it may be expanding even beyond. They could have inadvertently built a cap or something else on top of it that is not really meant to exceed a certain amount infrastructure wise, and they're having to expand that as well. So there's a lot of intricacies in it where um they could essentially be having trouble at the interface level with the server. Uh, and it's not just like somebody said, just grabbing a couple more server blades and opening things up and, hey, look, now there's a million.
Attention, attention. No, no. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt,
You're
but
good.
there's a message from the Arrowhead Discord about their servers right now.
right now,
Yes, they just tweeted, or Wario just tweeted something.
give me a second. I'm gonna.
I got it. It says, "Hello, divers. Earlier tonight, we had a server-related issue with the concurrent player spike. This led to some mission payouts failing, some players being kicked to their ships or being logged out. Our team is working around the clock to solve these issues. While we've been able to mitigate some of the causes, we are still struggling to keep up with the scaling that is needed to accommodate all our helldivers. Therefore, we've had to cap our concurrent players to around 450,000 to further improve server stability. We will continue to work with our partners to get the ceiling raised. If you have
Oh,
progression related issues, please restart the game in order for things to sync back up. Thank you for your
hey,
continued patience."
400. So they went from 600.
Yeah,
Wait,
they
so
dropped
they
it.
went. They dropped it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They up.
apparently upping it caused the instability issue, and that's what I was talking
Ah.
about. Is
That's
that
why all the
yeah?
glitches and things were happening.
Okay.
Yep.
So I have a question then with is um shout out to the person I don't know who he is. Elegant at Elegant Place, a Twitter account or her, I don't know. So he said no one was prepared for the success of Helldivers 2. And he point out some key points that I already mentioned. I said no state of play. They never did a state play for it. No minuscule marketing budget. I'm not aware how much they invest in that, so I can't comment on this one. No beta or technical test. I absolutely agree with that one. No review. Which we know why, cause the service went literally live when the beta started, when the game was launched. So PlayStation and not to mention Arrowhead both got caught off guard with this one.
Yeah, I
they
will
did.
say PlayStation marketed it very well to me. I mean, they had it literally when they announced it. They've had it at
They
literally
didn't pay
every
for it.
single showcase, state of play, showcase, whatever, that they've had. And then they've tweeted about it several times. They marketed it well for a
Yeah,
second party game.
This
I
is why I
agree.
said the marketing point I wouldn't. I'm not sure if I agree on it, but
Yeah.
all the
They
rest
had
I do.
a closed beta, but it wasn't for the public. It was for reviewers, which is what essentially, even though I was already on board, it confirmed things for me because everybody who had tried the closed beta was like, this game is it, with Game Informer and IGN and GameSpot and all those
Mhm.
people or whatever. Um,
I have a question.
yeah, I would
With
have
the
agreed
closed,
to a open beta, but I mean, honestly, I don't think that would have helped because
I was
Because
literally
they
about
it
still
would
to
have
wouldn't
just
have
got
say
known the
slammed.
closed
numbers.
beta or open beta. Wouldn't it have helped?
No, because
No,
it still wouldn't have been able to guess how the numbers. Because the problem isn't that the game is there, is bad fundamentally, which is what helps in a beta. Like, okay, we can prove this, we can prove that, we can do this. The problem is just server capacity. Like that's really the
So the
issue.
game
And that
is literally suffering from success. The
Yep.
DJ Khaled meme.
yeah,
and I don't think a open or a closed beta would have helped with that.
It's
Really.
interesting. So how do you fix? So I'm sorry, but if that's the case, then this game is gonna die a thousand deaths. Mostly because
It is what it
people
is at this point.
Mostly because people are not gonna wanting to wait 30 minutes. Shout out to C Fresh. He waited 30 minutes to play a game. Like, is he gonna wait another 30 minutes next week, tomorrow to play the same game? Or is he gonna switch to a different game? Me? I dropped Helldivers 2 right now. I'm not gonna touch it. If you guys after the podcast said let's jump in on, I'm gonna jump with you.
yeah. I mean, I'm
If
probably giving it a
if it
shot.
if it's working, but if not, I'm gonna go directly to Grand Blue or do
You
the
know,
Okay,
easy
guys,
with
now.
450, I highly doubt
I
it.
gotta go.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Yeah,
the
it's getting
chat.
late.
Now
All
you
right.
wait.
Bye, Weeb.
Later, Weeb.
Take care. Bye.
Peace.
Okay. But say what you wanna say.
No, I was saying. I mean, yeah. I mean, I plan
No, Morgan was saying
to try
something.
and give it a shot, but
No,
we'll see.
I was done.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot after the podcast. I mean, I already got in. Again, I haven't had any trouble really getting in, so that's
Yeah,
not been my.
this motherfucker hasn't had
You
any
went
trouble.
in. I'm gonna try to grab
Yeah,
them right
that's
quick.
not my problem.
Yeah,
My
this
problem is my
motherfucker
XP isn't
getting in.
working. So if my XP is not working,
Mm.
like that's pissing me off, especially because I'm like 14 and 70%.
Wait, didn't you get your XP back when you logged in?
No,
The
it
first
did.
time it
It
didn't
did
work
the
the second
first
time.
time. The second time we did it again, and it didn't work for
Oh,
me.
oh,
But that was
okay.
yesterday. There's been an
Sorry
update
about
since
that. I
then.
misunderstood
Yeah,
it.
they've
You
updated. I
said
got
it
an
a
update
couple of
on
times.
the game.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's been an update and stuff, and I mean, I already got in. I turned it on ahead of time because that's what Morgan did the other day, and it worked. So basically, what she did is she got on ahead of time and then invited us directly into her game, and
Yeah.
then pulled us in.
Service at capacity.
I know,
Please
just
try
leave. You
again
just
later.
have to leave it. I just let it sit there. It took like 5 or 6 minutes, and then it just did it. You don't have to touch anything.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna leave it.
But yeah,
I'll play. Shout out to Zebrak. I'll play another game in the meantime. But Helldivers too good to stop completely. I agree with you. Like the game is amazing. Like when you're level, I'm level 23. Like that thing. Like again, I don't play multiplayer games for a reason, and I'm on this, and I'm loving it.
yeah. But this is the thing that I've explained time and time again, is that companies keep trying to grab the same damn fan base with PvP, and there's a huge love out there for a great PvE game, co-op.
PvE?
Yeah, like that people just keep not taking advantage of. And I'm like, dude, there are tons of us out here that just want to play PvE. Like the PvP people, they always try to let them come in and take over. Because obviously that worked for some. Like you had you had Fortnite, which famously did that. It started off co-op PvE, and then they just stopped updating the PvE portion, which was actually really good. And if they updated it, it could be revitalized even more. There's still people I know that still play it, even though they don't really update it all that much. They still have updates that come occasionally, but they're not pushing like big updates and new areas and new traps and all this other stuff that they had. um, but again, that could be another growing part that could do numbers for them, which is very evident by the way that, stuff is happening for Helldivers. And it's very, very similar to the structure that Helldivers has. It's just that, Fortnite found a rapid success in PvP and it happened to take off. But again, that's just leaving an open space for a lot of people who want to play a PvE co op experience and just have a ball with it. And there's a lot of people for that. So a lot of people just keep underestimating that. And yeah, I mean, it's very obvious by the amount of people trying to bust into this game and, play and, very excited for the updates that are to come for it and the new war bonds and new weapons and, new enemies and all this other stuff. And like I
New
said, all that's
enemy.
well and good, but they gotta get this server stuff under control. Do I think it's gonna be DOA if they don't do it tomorrow? No. Because the thing is, like Morgan said, we have other games to play and we already purchased the game. So if the content shows up and it's still really good and the servers are okay, a week or two from now, like, yeah, we'll be fine. Like I still need to play Persona 3 Reload. Like you said, Fox is playing Power World. Morgan is also playing Persona 3. Before that, me and Morgan were running Persona 5 the Royale for the PS5 release, and that is gorgeous. And we were having a ball with that. So we have a ton
There
of
is
stuff.
always something else to play, I mean.
Yeah, because we are very multifaceted gamers, and honestly, that's kind of the PlayStation thing in general. Most PlayStation gamers are like that. There's a ton to play. Now, do they want to be like having this problem for the next month? No, like they got to get it under control, and not just by letting the player base kind of dwindle, because that'll kill the hype overall. And if they are going to do updates and stuff and those look really good, it's going to just reinvigorate the fan base anyway, and more people are going to jump in. So the reality is they really need to work on the flexibility for the servers and their ability to increase again, which is ironic that I'm studying for some stuff like this at work, which talks about the flexibility of Azure servers specifically, which is ironic. So again, like I said, the main trouble there is that it's not supporting just like a company, it's supporting games, which is something that I explain to people is very different. Supporting a whole entire gameplay infrastructure is very different than supporting like people who are just logging in and checking email. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a lot to it. It's can be really complex. I feel for their network team and the team that's working on this, and hopefully they get it situated, man, because it's a really good game.
Yeah, it's an amazing game. Also, shout out to Phil Spencer for giving even more exposure with his comment.
Yep.
Cause wow, that comment.
Oh, also,
Oof.
as much as it's an amazing game, let's get one thing straight. Let's not overstate, because I keep seeing this on again on social media. Let's not overstate the success of this game. Like, let's not act like they're pulling Power World numbers, okay? Like they didn't show up and sell 10 million. Like, because that is what some people are acting like on social media. Like, oh my god, this game is selling so crazy. This is it. This is PlayStation's going day and date because this game broke 1 million sales. Oh my god. Like calm down, bro. It scraped up past 1 million at $40 to $33 and is a solid co-op experience. Like, calm down. This is no direct correlation.
Hey, now you're downplaying it, Solid.
What?
The fun that we're having calling it Solid.
I mean, it is
It's an
solid.
amazing co-op.
It's solid. Like I said,
Yeah.
they gotta expand. Like I'm a content person, bro. I'm already at the end of my premium content bundle. Like there's other stuff they've got to add to keep it
Just a little
going.
bit. Tony, you hating on the game right now? What's
I
going
didn't say
on?
I was hating on the game. I said don't overstate the success of its sales. It just broke over
You trying to shit on the
it
sales?
just broke
Oh
over a
man.
million, which is great. They did a good job. No, people are. I'm saying in opposed to people acting like it sold 10 million. Like
No,
this
you
game,
didn't.
yeah, this game is not like people are acting like the game is making unprecedented numbers that they've never seen in their whole life.
I think it's more so they're impressed that it's able, as far as like Steam concurrent, to beat established IPs that have always been popular, especially on PC, like Halo and Destiny and Starfield. I think people are just impressed about that.
Not gonna lie though, really wish this game had an open beta. Mostly because
Why, Negro? Because you would have had access to it anyway.
Yeah, essentially.
People that would have played it would have gave them something to information to fix or change about it.
Yeah, but they still. I mean,
mean,
this is
but
the
the
same
thing is
time
that
frame, and they still can't fix it.
but even if they had, the feedback, like, of the things that you guys want to fix, it wouldn't matter because they don't have the capacity. Nobody can get in. That's not their main problem. Is not.
I'm not talking about the service. I'm now talking specifically about bathing issues. I'm talking about
Sure, but we
I'm
got
also
to be able to get into
specifically
the game
talking.
first.
I'm
Mhm.
specifically talking about how the game doesn't even tell you what enemies you're gonna face in your mission.
Yeah, but
That
I don't think they were gonna be able to make those changes with the size of their team
mhm.
in the amount of time because, like,
So
Yeah,
that
so that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. They got to focus on getting people in the game
that's
first.
gonna be later down the
yeah,
road.
this is gonna be top
I
priority right now. But I mean, we talked about that, like, not being able to like giving us a specific mission to find a specific, to kill a specific thing, and then we can't see what we need to kill. What's going to be available to kill on this planet is annoying. So yeah, that's definitely something huge that they need to correct. They need a list or a like I said, like a
Yeah, and it makes
bestiary.
me wonder if that's like an intentional thing or accidental. Like if they just want us to just look around until we find it, if that's like what they want us to do, or if it's just something they just kind of looked over and they didn't really think about it.
I just feel like they didn't think about it because like I mean to them I guess they're like there's not really a ton of planets. It's not
Yeah.
crazy yet. Like you said, like later obviously it's going to you see all
oh,
those areas
one
where
second, Nate.
what
Check. Are we live? Because I have the feeling we're offline
dude we're
now.
live right now.
We're live?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, no, sorry.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
YouTube is no
you do
longer
that
live
you
for
do
me.
that every day.
No. This one, something happened. That's why I'm asking. Because the video ended
No, the
for
video is
me.
still live for me right now on my
Okay.
cell phone.
Okay. Continue.
So yeah, like I said, I think it's just a general thing. Like at the end of the day, when you think about um when you think about game development, we hear it all the time. You know, we mention 15 things when a game comes out, and they're like the dev team. When you get to hear from them, are always like, "Oh yeah, we wanted to do that. We wanted to do that too. We wanted to do that too." But it's like they just can't. There comes a point when you have to say, "This is the game. We need to go gold, and this is what we're gonna put out," and then we go from there. And at least on a
Mm.
live service game, you know, they can at least implement these things. But like Morgan was saying right now, the whole telling us what's on a planet is going to become way later at this point because, uh, they essentially need to handle what's on hand right now, which is getting people in.
Yeah, because as much as I want a roadmap right now, I'm like, well, like we're getting one anytime soon.
Exactly.
Okay.
They gotta get this shit first, and then we can
Okay.
start getting the content updates and stuff like that.
Nate, I joined. Mamba and Morgan,
Wait,
uh,
we're in the middle of a podcast. What? Oh my god.
launch it up. Hey, it's important. I'm addicted to the game.
Lord
I literally
Jesus.
said that, didn't I?
Oh my god.
Hey, but
We
no,
ain't
real
even
stuff though.
finished.
I'm, I'm questioning one thing about this game,
Mm-hmm.
which is, do you think? Okay, so this game outdid uh, Destiny in numbers. It outdid Halo in numbers, and it outdid Starfield in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And now that they limit their number back, um, it's not a decline because the success is not there. It's just to make it stable. It makes me question if PlayStation is gonna invest in them even further. It makes me question if PlayStation is gonna purchase them. It makes
No.
because
Okay.
they have a gem on their hands, don't they?
Yeah, but what?
Yeah, PlayStation's not gonna. The server thing is not a fault of Arrowhead or the game. Like, this is like the best type of bad news you can have. Like, we got so many players that we don't have enough room. Like, of course, PlayStation's gonna back them up, and if they are available to buy, I'm pretty sure they're next on PlayStation's list to acquire. Like, because this is like a sleeper hit that I'm sure they thought. I'm sure they had a number in their head or a projection. Of course, they always do when they decide to publish, when any studio or the publisher decides to publish a game from an outside studio. They run these numbers and they have projections of where they think the game is going to land. And I'm sure whatever number they had in the meetings and what they wrote down, I'm sure it was not close to what they're seeing now.
Yeah, they blew through. They
You
blew
know,
all that out the water.
they blew through it because Sony gave them a budget and they probably the ones who gave them a specific number for the server capacity, and obviously they blew through that. So yeah, I don't see this like hampering or putting a damp on the relationship between Arrowhead and PlayStation, because this isn't oh, the game is bad and we can't get people to come and play, or oh, this was a waste of money and we're not getting the player count to come in. And no, this game is just so good that the damn servers are just overloaded. And honestly, if I was Sony, I'd be happy as hell. Like, yes, it sucks and we want to hurry up and fix this quickly, but this is what Sony was looking for when they started investing in live service games. This was what they wanted from the people. They wanted the same type of gravitation that their single players pull
Exactly.
on in the gaming industry, and they're getting that with Helldivers 2. Yeah, so much so that people are mad and upset and fighting and can't get on this damn game. People are begging, like, please wait. Like you said, you had people waiting 30 minutes, an hour to try to get on this game. This is exactly what Sony wants. So
I
yeah,
heard you mean 20
I don't
minutes.
see them.
10, 20, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't see Sony not backing up Arrowhead anyway. If anything, because as you can see, they've been promoting their tweets and they've been tweeting about Helldivers like all day, and they've even threw in a free PS Plus weekend, which was honestly kind of stupid because of the server issues. But it just shows that they realize this is a popular game and they want to get even more people on it by putting away the restriction of PS Plus. And yeah, I don't see not backing this up. Like, I see them continuing to invest in Arrowhead and Helldivers 2 for the years to come, as long as they keep putting the same passion they did when they released this game. They have a decent roadmap of the future plans of content, and they keep it up, and they're able to keep a consistent audience. Yeah, I see Arrowhead and PlayStation having a good relationship, a great relationship going forward.
Thank you very much. And with that being said, let's jump to the last topic. Too bad two of our crewmates couldn't be here,
See fresh.
but I'm gonna manage it. I already explained it in chat.
See fresh says tinfoil hat time. It was Microsoft Azure servers.
This dude. So it's confirmed. There's no but or it about it. Xbox is going multiplat. Phil Spencer, something, and something, Sarah Bond, and the other dude.
Matt Booty.
No, the issue is we watched it all together, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one, we clearly saw that they wanted to say more, but they couldn't. That's number one.
Yeah.
we clearly saw that they were devastated. They're not happy. They're not excited. You clearly saw that was a sign of defeat slash surrender. And another thing you clearly saw is they went back to in circle with this one. Like they kept repeating the same thing over and over and over again, and they said a lot of things, but at the same time they said nothing. And to make matter worse, they wouldn't even name the 4 games or 5 games that actually quote unquote got leaked, only to be confirmed that they are what they are. And even to say, oh, these are the 4 games, and then later to say, oh, uh, oh, what's it called? Indiana Jones and Starfield is not going there. But in another, I forgot if it's in the same video or in a different video or in a different conversation. He said, I wouldn't rule it out or something like that. So, my question is, with now Microsoft officially going multi-plat and the games are Hi-Fi, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded. So one multi, 2 single players, 2 multiplayers. Even we had the craziest. We had Gears. We had Fable. We had not Fable. We had Hellblade 2. We had Starfield. None of it happened as of right now. So before anyone say anything, there is a video of Mr. Phil Spencer saying that his game going to PC is gonna be case by case basis, and it's not going to be every single game here. Last generation, Phil Spencer reassured concerned Xbox fans that not every third party game would release on PC. We're committed to bring our biggest franchises to both Xbox and Windows PC, but it doesn't necessarily mean that every game could end up on PC, on both platforms. And then what happened? They and motherfucking did. So I'm gonna ask you, Innate, cause I know you clipped it. What is the advantage of having an Xbox now? Cause they said it, especially Sarah Bond said it, right?
I mean, she specifically said if you're playing on an Xbox, you are ensuring that you're playing on a platform where the biggest games are going to be there day one. That's
You
what they
telling
stated.
me that you telling me that the next Last of Us is on there? You
Supposedly,
telling me that Uncharted is on there? You
that's what I'm
telling me
hearing.
that Ghost of Tsushima is on there? Hey. But now real talk, I think she mentioned futures, right? Like quick play, quick resume,
Yeah, backwards
or
compatibility. They mentioned all the
backward
all the
compatible.
all the buzzwords their
All
current
the
fan
Xbox
base likes.
buzzwords.
Yeah,
And we got confirmation that a new Xbox is in work, and they said it could have revolutionary uh, something something something. With that being said, it's official. There is no more rumors. There is no more this. There is no more that. Um, I'm gonna go first. Clearly, there were other titles that they didn't choose to mention, mostly for their fan base. There, you clearly seen what happened with their fan base, and I think someone in there was smart enough to remember what happened with going day and date and Game Pass that they said we're not gonna shoot ourselves in the foot this quick. We're gonna trickle it.
Well, like I
So the
said,
question,
they are taking PlayStation's PC
they,
approach
I don't
and
think they're
releasing
gonna
games
do
like that.
so. I think they're gonna
No, I mean,
go
I'm
for
saying that's what
even
they did
but
with the ones they are releasing right now.
yeah,
He
yeah, but
specifically
I think
stated these games are over a year old and have
yeah,
already ran the course of what they are going to do revenue wise from their
yeah,
platform. So they are expanding to other platforms in order to obtain more revenue from those
yeah,
specific games. I'm not saying they're doing it for everything because PlayStation's not doing it for everything.
yeah,
Ghost of Tsushima is not on PC. Like, and there's
yeah,
a couple
yes,
other games too.
yeah,
Like, there's plenty of games that are not.
but
But case by
yeah,
case basis,
but
they are essentially
this
doing that same strategy.
this one though opens up Pandora box. Now, do we know if Hellblade 2 gonna go to PlayStation or not? I'm gonna wait. If it comes to PlayStation, I'll play it. If it's on PC, which it don't is, I'm gonna get it and play it and decide if it's better than one. If they did improve the combat. Um, if the next, who knows? By the time their next what you call it portion of their game get released, all of them gonna be on PlayStation. I would not be shocked if that happened. I genuinely, and call me crazy, call me whatever you want to call, I genuinely believe this wasn't the announced, uh, this wasn't the deal, this wasn't the, what you call it, the wording that was supposed to say, but they went with this one after the backlash that they have gotten. Cause you know for a fact a lot of people tag Phil and Sarah Bond, and you've seen how they were commenting on her, even just talking about JJK, and they're going ham with what they were saying. So my question first is this a W for Xbox fans, or is it Pandora box opened and there is no recovering from it? Morgan, go ahead. Uh, Innate, go ahead.
Uh,
Oh,
there
my
she is.
bad. I'm
There she
sorry.
is.
She is here. Okay.
Sorry. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a W. I mean, they didn't really gain anything essentially from this information. They essentially just told them, "Hey, we're
No,
taking four
what I mean
games."
by a W, I mean that they're not quote unquote fully third party. Is that a W for them, or is it only time before it happened?
I mean, this is just them testing the waters, so it'll be determined by how well the numbers are that come back from the sales of these games on PlayStation. So that'll depend. I guess that'll dictate whether it's a W or not. If they end up selling well and they meet their sales expectations or exceed the sales expectations that they want them to do on PlayStation, then I would expect, as Phil Spencer said, that they'll bring more games over to PlayStation. But if they don't and they feel like, it was kind of a waste of money and resources to port the game over, then that'll be it for the ports. So it really is just going to be determined by the PlayStation fan base of whether this is going to be a W for Xbox or not.
Mm-hmm. And where do you see them go from there?
What do you mean, like what games or?
Well, yeah. What do you think? So do you think 'cause with this one now they open Pandora box in my opinion, in the sense of now people gonna be extra like, especially PlayStation fans. Do you support this game? Play it on PC or Xbox, or do you wait for it to be on PlayStation?
Uh, yeah. I mean, with the games that they're releasing, what we suspect they're releasing with they are two AA games and then two live service games. So for right now, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a wait and see if you really want a game. Like the bigger games for Xbox aren't slated to come to PlayStation. So I wouldn't say it's a wait and you can play it later because we don't know if that's going to be the case. But it just looks like you said earlier, like games that didn't necessarily, sell the best,
Sold
the smaller
well,
titles,
which it
and
has
then
you, like Pentiment, you love it.
yeah, and then live service games, which can always do better with a bigger audience. Those seem to be the type of games that Xbox is porting over. Now, like I said, now if those do well, maybe then they'll consider the bigger AAA games like maybe Starfield or Indiana Jones or something like that. But I wouldn't, if somebody was wanting to play that game, I wouldn't tell them, hey, wait, not just tell them go get it where it is. Like, because I was waiting for this announcement to see whether or not I was going to get a Series X. Um, I was going to be like, okay, are they planning on porting these big games over or no? And it sounds to me like that's not happening anytime soon. If that isn't the plan, it's not going to be soon. So I'm still on the market to go get a Series X because I want to play Hellblade 2. I want to play Indiana Jones. I want to play Fable. Those are games that I'm looking forward to on Xbox. So I'm still going to get a Series X.
I see. And Nick?
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna see anything in the meantime for Starfield, because essentially they're going to at least try to stick to the rhetoric that they set at the show, which is Phil said, these are games over a year old. Specifically, that was his wording. You got to pay attention carefully to the things that they say. Um, so Starfield, if it does come, it'll be when it's over a year old, most likely. So you've got until September 2024 at the very least. Uh, so yeah, I mean, how these games will do, only time will tell. Like Morgan said, um, I think they did a shitty job picking some of the games that they're putting on PlayStation, because let's be honest, like most of us don't care about none of these fucking games. Um, like I told Morgan, probably just for for funsies, just to laugh, yeah, if Hi-Fi Rush has a physical release or something, I'll pick it up just to be like, this is pretty funny to look at, whatever. But um, yeah, I mean, otherwise, like these games, like Sea of Thieves, like I could have played Sea of Thieves a million times over by now on my PC. I don't care. That game looks fucking retarded to me. Like I'm just sorry. Like nothing about that game looks fun. Uh, it's actually the epitome of the type of multiplayer that I hate, which is essentially baiting you with PvE, um, and then ingraining asymmetric multiplayer, which is basically just you go do all the work while this person who's been playing before you just comes in, ganks you, and takes all your loot, and it's like that's just not fun. That's annoying. Um, so yeah, I literally despise that type of gameplay mechanic. So I don't see it doing well at all on PlayStation. But I could be wrong. There's a lot of random casuals and other stuff, and I don't know what their entry price is going to be for the game, stuff like that. Like there's a lot of variables that are going to determine the factor for this. And the fact that unlike them, PlayStation is not hurting for games, and we have a very specific player base that likes a specific set of games, which is why those games sell and do crazy numbers on the system. Um, I mean, we are swimming in games right now, with like we said, Persona, um, Infinite, Rebirth on the way, uh, Stellar Blade, and all that stuff right after, and tons of other games. So it's like you're introducing these old games that if somebody again really wanted to play, they probably would have went about it already in some form or fashion, whether it's a Series S, a Series X, or a PC. So yeah, I just don't think there's a lot of room to grow for those games. But yeah, I mean, if they would have done something, like I said, like announced Starfield, for like $60 with the shattered space or whatever DLC coming to PlayStation, when the DLC launches, like, yeah, that would have, I think that would have done significant numbers. I think they'd get a couple million sales out of that easy. So yeah, it just, I don't know. We'll see what happens with it, but I just think they chose a really poor set of games to push over here. But Hi-Fi Rush will probably be the biggest thing that comes out of that. I'm sure that'll get a
Yeah,
decent amount of
I'm gonna
sales.
play Hi-Fi Rush. I'm gonna platinum that bitch.
There you go.
Mm.
So yeah, I think
Okay.
that's really the thing.
By the way, Morgan, you were too civil about it, so I'm
Listen, I'll troll all
surprised.
day on Twitter, but you know,
No,
I try to be reasonable
no,
when
no, no,
I'm
no, no.
talking.
I'm not talking about that. Which I'm surprised about that, but what I was talking about it last week. I said it's gonna be the whole slate. I'm not gonna say no. It's gonna be they're gonna announce
Oh,
a
you talking
few
about your
games
L?
and they're gonna trickle. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
Oh
give
man,
no.
oh
I
man.
have since when have I ever avoided taking an L? Let me
Look
know.
at Omar. I'm proud of you.
Since when? I don't care about LFW. I enjoy talking. But my question is, tell me if I'm wrong. Do you
Hmm.
think that this was the actual announcement, or do you think stuff changed?
You know, I've been thinking about it. Um, you know, I've seen people say, you know, they feel like Starfield and stuff like that was a part of the plan, and that maybe Xbox officials, you know, some people at the top or somebody, you know, leaked the information to try to get the community riled up as they did, and you know, see the pushback and then be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do that just yet. But I'm gonna say probably not, because those are like big plans that take way more than just like a week or two to just completely do a U-turn on. Um, you know, especially if you're porting a game that's money and resources, you don't just stop that just because some the extreme, you know, fanboys, which are a small portion of the Xbox community. You know, let's be real, the hardcore for any community, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox, are a small part of that community. So, um, no, maybe their plans to talk about it, like maybe they do have plans to put like, you know, games like Starfield and Indiana Jones on PlayStation, and maybe if I don't think it was going to be, you know, announced at the same time as, or you know, come at the same time as like their Hi-Fi Rushes and their Pentiments, but maybe they put off talking about it because of the pushback, and maybe they're like, okay, we'll wait until the time comes that maybe the port is ready, that then we'll have that discussion because of, you know, the community's pushback on it. But um yeah, I think I think the four were always going to be the four. Um, and maybe the bigger games were going to come later. Maybe they were going to talk about it, but like I said, they saw the feedback from the community and the outrage, and they were like, okay, let's just not talk about that right now. Let's not give them any more reason to get upset, and let's assure them that hey, it's not that bad. Or maybe it was Xbox themselves that planted the ideas of all those games like Starfield and uh, Hellblade 2 and Indiana Jones coming, just to cushion the blow. Like, we'll tell them the worst of the worst possible outcome. And now that it's only these four, they're just gonna be like, oh, okay, that's fine. Oh, it's not that bad. Because if they had
That's what they
just,
keep saying, that it's not that bad.
yeah, because if they had just come out and said, like, let's just say there were no leaks whatsoever, right? And you know, it's just a normal day on Twitter, and all of a sudden
Mm,
you get this announcement, four games, and they tell us the games, right? They say Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, and Sea of Thieves are coming. That would have catapulted into catastrophe. Just that news. Even though they're okay with that now, if they hadn't gotten a warning ahead of time, it would have been basically what we saw a week ago to this news. They would have been like, oh my god, the world is ending. Xbox is putting games on PlayStation, but them possibly, like I said, this is just a crazy, wild conspiracy. Them putting out the news that, oh, it's gonna be Starfield. Oh, it's gonna be Hellblade 2. It's gonna be Indiana Jones. That got people so riled up and worried that, oh, those four little games, oh, that's fine. That's not as bad as what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's hard to say what's true and what's not because I can see all of the theories being true, but you don't really know because shoot, apparently most of the people in Microsoft didn't even know. So it's just, yeah, I have no idea, but anything is possible. To be honest, I wouldn't put it past Xbox.
I see, I see, I see. And Nate, what about you?
For what? I thought I commented on the same thing already.
Okay. No, 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 no. But do you think what I asked? Do you think everything what was supposed, what was leaked, was gonna happen, and do you think
Yeah, I mean, they said they
thi-
talked about it since December, so yeah. And I mean, I don't, like I said, I didn't think something like Starfield was coming because, like I said, they ultimately decided on a window for these games to get released, and Starfield is just not something that fits in that window right now. It's, like I said,
okay?
it's not over a year old, so
Um,
I think they kind of determined that is their factor. I still don't think that's enough. Um,
You see how they took PlayStation's playbook though with the PC thing.
so do you
yeah,
think when the DLC happens, it's gonna come after it, maybe?
I think it's going to show up after a year. But that I think
Okay.
that would be the ideal time if they're going to stick to their wording. Like I said, all this stuff you got to listen to exactly what they said. You know, Phil
Mm.
specifically
I mean, the
stated these
problem is
games are
he
all
says
over a
one
year
thing and
old.
he does something else.
I
So
mean,
that's the
yeah,
Yeah,
difference.
yeah. It was so funny hearing that interview like right after the video, the podcast aired, and then he started talking on his interview, and it was kind of like almost the exact opposite of what he said in the podcast. I'm like, see, this is what he does. He
This
does this all
dude,
the time. He
you
said
know,
so definitively in the podcast that no, don't worry, Starfield and Indiana Jones are not coming to PlayStation. And then in the podcast, he was like, well, I don't want to rule it out. Because things could happen, but I just don't want PlayStation players thinking that they can just have to wait, and I don't want Xbox players feeling like that their exclusives don't matter. I'm like, listen, I need you to just be definitive with the people. Like,
he
stop treating
can,
people like
he
they're
can.
idiots, and
He
just
gotta be,
say the truth. Just tell
he
us what
got,
you're planning on
he
doing.
gotta be the politician, Phil Spencer.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, look what Melton said to you. He said, my kid has been saying Hi-Fi Rush since Morgan said it because they remember Supernov saying it funny and
we gonna
making fun of it.
Oh yeah,
This
we gonna get all
dude.
the kids to play Hi-Fi Rush.
Go
Absolutely.
eat your food. With that being said, let's jump to the outros. Great, great, great show today. Lots of fun, lots of conversation to be had. Feel free to share the stream, hit that like button, and yeah, let's come to the outros. Also, can we ban Innate from hosting ever again? Cause this dude
Oh
keeps
man,
showing. No, no, let me explain why. Cause this dude keeps showing me more games I want to play.
I know. Every time I get on this
I
podcast, I
never
see
heard of
another game. I'm
Babylon.
like, yeah,
there's a
What
I
lot
is
see
of
another
games.
Babylon?
game I
And
want to
give
play.
it to me. So yeah, with that being said, Morgan, where people can find you? Thank you for coming through.
Yeah. Yeah. People can find me on Twitter. That's right, Twitter. At Chill Bandit. I'll be tweeting mostly about helldivers. Hopefully, for the foreseeable future, if I can, we
Foreseeable
can get a
future, huh?
game. Yeah, if we can get a game running on this thing. But yeah, I'll be tweeting about games. That's it. Games, games, games. Thank you guys for coming through, and we'll see you guys next Saturday.
As you should, as you should. And thank you for coming through, as for hosting, and where people can find you.
Yeah, just on Twitter at the real innate. Uh, you know, speaking the honest gospel truth about PC gaming, unlike these other people who don't know what they're talking about.
1 billion
Um,
Oh
gamers,
man.
am I right?
yeah, one
Oh man.
billion gamers. You know, but yet most of these games can't outsell PlayStation exclusives. Never mind Nintendo exclusives. So again,
Ooh.
back to gaming Twitter as per usual. Where people keep lying, and we
Mm.
keep actually gaming. Peace.
As it should. Um, as for me, people
Otter
can
Nation.
find me at
Yep.
Caravan Sport Job on Twitter. Shout out to Nelson Gaming. He is in chat. He can put his where people can find him. Shout out to Weeb. And yeah, you can find me at Vitamin G Podcast also every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And again, it was a great episode. And see you next week.